But right now we got to start things off with the starting lineup here on Cougar Sports Saturday.
The starting lineup. A look at the stories making headlines right now. It's time for the starting lineup on Cougar Sports Saturday.
BYU and Stanford. We got a loaded show for you coming up too today. We got Bear Bachmeyer, Raider DeMooney, Chase Roberts, Logan Latui. So many players you're going to hear from today as 1-0 BYU takes on 0-1 Stanford. And first time these programs are meeting since 2022. First time Stanford comes to Provo since 2003. You know, it's interesting. Stanford's a program, Kyle, that they haven't had much winning as of late. You think back to the early 2010s when they had Andrew Luck, they had Jim Harbaugh, then the transition to David Shaw. They were a consistent winner. They were always a New Year's Six BCS Bowl type of program. It hasn't been that way, honestly, since COVID. You know, BYU was one of the great beneficiaries of post-COVID. Stanford has been a mess. They haven't won more than 4 games in a season since 2018, but with the new excitement of Andrew Luck, interim head coach Frank Reich, a former NFL coach, the Stanford program, even though they're 0-1 coming into this game, they feel like better days are ahead, and I'm sure they would like to get those better days sooner, beginning tonight in Provo.
Do you remember that game, Mitch, in 2022? Seeing the farm just empty?
Yes, I was there. It was a joke of a crowd. There was no one there. It was like a 9 p.m. kick, and no one really cared about the game other than BYU fans.
Which is crazy because the endowment at Stanford is ridiculous. There's so much money that could be pumped into that program. And I think that having Andrew Luck, having Frank Reich in this season, if they can, try and find something to build on this year, that would do wonders for them after the kind of downhill slope that they've been going down the last 5, 6, 7 years. You think back about that 2022 game, that was David Shaw's last game as Stanford's head coach. It was just like, it was weird because they went from Harbaugh, the success with him, to David Shaw, the BCS, the championships, the Rose Bowl appearances, those things that you saw with them. And then where they are now, it's a completely different program. And it's almost flipped with BYU. BYU was in independence in that kind of era as well and fighting for something. And now BYU has access. BYU has the same ability that Stanford did all of those years. And Stanford does now. But you look at what conference realignment has done, they were left out. They had to go find a home in the ACC with Cal, and it's a weird fit. I mean, we're watching SMU and Baylor right now as well, another Big 12 ACC matchup, and that seems more like an ACC opponent for a Big 12 opponent and Baylor for a matchup than Stanford, West Coast, and BYU in the Mountain Time Zone. But I will say, going back to tonight's game, this would be a marquee win for Stanford. This is going to be one that they have circled on their schedule because, BYU coming off an 11-win campaign. This is something that Andrew Luck and Frank Reich, even though he's not going to be there as their head coach next year, this is something that the Cardinal program can build on for seasons to come.
BYU comes into this game against Stanford as a big favorite. The Cougars are almost a 3-touchdown favorite in this one, favored by 20.5 points. And it was interesting. I was looking back during the BCS Power Conference era, which dates back to 1998. BYU has only been a double-digit favorite over a Power Conference team 4 previous times since 1998. And oddly enough, it's the second time in the last 3 home games this has happened. The most recent occurrence was last year against Houston. BYU was an 11.5-point favorite. Arizona in 2021 in Vegas. Virginia in 2014, and then 2012 against Washington State. BYU 4-0 in all those games, but one thing of note, some of those games were, one-score games in that one, and Stanford is going to come in off a bye looking to spring the upset on BYU, and that's why Kalani Sitake is making the point of emphasis that BYU has to be over-prepared for the Stanford Cardinal.
I think they have the upper hand in anything that they want to do. We have one game to look at. It's one of those moments where I trust Jay Hill and A-Rod and K-Pop. It's going to be a little bit getting over-prepared. I think we have to look at everything and try to get them ready for everything. There's some new things that happened. I mean, it happened in this game against Portland State. We weren't expecting some of the formations and some of the personnel sets that Coach Barnum gave us. It took a while for the first series for us to adjust to it. But once the defense adjusted to it, I think everything was going to be fine. And we had that in control. So we kind of expect that a little bit in this game. They're really, I mean, they're quality coaches. Those guys know how to get a team ready, and then there's good talent on that team. I mean, that's like I said, we recognize them. We recruited a bunch of those guys too, so that they're going to be ready to go, and they have a week of rest and a week of preparation for us. So we've got to make sure that we're on top of our game when it comes to getting ready for this one.
I think that Kalani is obviously ready for, having a real test for his team based off of that Portland State game. Like, he went back and watched the film from that game, and he was even happier going back and watching the game than and seeing the replay of it, as
which
opposed
is
to watching
noteworthy.
it. No, for sure.
Because coaches are always like
wanting to nitpick.
I watched the film and wasn't really happy. Like, we got to get better. Like, these coaches were like, that's as clean as it gets in week one. That was a flawless performance last week.
And that's what you hope to see, coming out of the gates, especially against the quality of an opponent as Portland State was. But I do think that this staff, these players, like, you saw it throughout practice. I mean, we were there this week, Mitch. Like, they're ready to see a team that's more formidable, somebody that's going to give them a challenge. I mean, Bear Bachmeier's not going to play one half of football tonight. Like, he's going to play all 4 quarters. We're going to see more out of that offense. We're going to see some more exotic things from the defense. And I think that that's encouraging to have a performance like they did in week 1 to build off of going into this game. We talked about this last week. It's a nice, easy ramp up for this team. This schedule sets up nicely for a true freshman quarterback in Bear Bachmeier to be able to get his feet under him as this thing gets going. I mean, they have a bye next week, and then they play East Carolina before they get into conference play. I don't think that you could ask for kind of a better runway for this BYU squad in 2025. But I guess for me, you mentioned the double-digit favorite aspect of this game, and it is kind of crazy. When you tweeted that out earlier this week, you posted it on an X, Mitch. I was like, wow, it's only been 4 times before this. Like, that's actually kind of noteworthy to think back that BYU, in some ways, I feel like this fan base also feels like slighted over the last 30, 40 years, and
no question,
this is another example of that, where they need to take these power conference matchups and use them as a not just a fan base, but like from the team's perspective as well, to be able to kind of put some respect on their name.
Well, and also too, I mean, BYU is now in a power conference, so you get 10 power conference games opponents in a season. But in the past, the opportunities were fewer and far between. But there's just never been respect given to BYU. And even after a 69-0 win over Portland State, you would think BYU would jump up 1 spot into the AP Top 25 poll. That's not the case. BYU still not getting the respect from the voters, which, honestly, who cares? You're in a Big 12 where if you do your thing, you win this conference, you're going to be playing in the playoff and have everything in front of you. But still, it just shows that BYU will never just get the respect. It's always, BYU, if they do something great, well, let's see what happens next week. And, it's not this, they've arrived. And look, no one's saying they've arrived after beating Portland State. That was a terrible football team to the depths of Savannah State, Wagner levels. And if you know, those were terrible football teams. BYU is a really good football team, though. And I think what impressed me last week was that just the clean execution. It wasn't sloppy. Bear Bachmeier was poised, he was in control, and he did a nice job. And I think that his decision-making was really good, too, in that game. I talked about it this week. Bear Bachmeier, last season, there were throws in games where Jake Retzloff is like, that throw is not the right throw, Jake. And that's the maddening part of Jake Retzloff last season. I'm not trying to bring him up, but those comparisons are going to happen when you have a guy that's gone in the middle of the summer. You're gonna make some comparisons. Whereas Bear, I didn't get that sense at all. Now, tougher competition tonight, and we got to remember too, Stanford has got a pretty good roster, at least what the star ratings would tell you. And I think that's an underrated aspect to this game is that BYU, from a star rating perspective, 70th best roster in college football per 24/7 Sports team talent composite ratings. Stanford is 46. They got 11 4-stars on their roster. BYU has 8. Again, that's all insignificant. It's about chemistry, it's about development, things like that. But still, from just the raw numbers of star power, Stanford's got a more star power driven roster than BYU. Yet BYU's the 3-touchdown favorite, but Stanford's capable. We'll see if they can spring potentially some scares into BYU and how quickly BYU can respond. Let's hear from some players and coaches on both sides of this matchup tonight as BYU gets ready to take on Stanford tonight, 8:15 kick here on KSL. Mitch Harper, Kyle Ireland with you. It's Cougar Sports Saturday on KSL News Radio.
September means it's time for Any Hour Services free furnace sale. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and as summer comes to a close and falls right around the corner, the weather gets, well, perfect. And when the weather's perfect, people need a little extra incentive to replace their heating and cooling system. That's where Any Hour Services free furnace sale comes in. For the month of September, when you have Any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it. About $400. The furnace is free, you just pay the labor. And there's no catch. There's no raising the price on the air conditioner first. There's no making you buy the most expensive air conditioner to qualify. There's none of that. There's just a desire to keep our technicians working while the weather's mild and a genuine appreciation of you for helping us keep them busy. So if you've been thinking about replacing your old furnace and air conditioner and want to know exactly how much you can save during our free furnace sale, call Any Hour Services today and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Shop with any Mountain America credit or debit card for a chance to win a $5,000 vacation voucher. Simply tap, insert, swipe, or click to be entered to win now until October 31st. Use any card, win any trip from Mountain America Credit Union. Visit macu.com/anycard for official rules or to apply. Loans on approved credit. Membership required based on eligibility. Insured by NCUA. Limited time offer. Offer can change or be withdrawn at any time.
I am not a rich woman, but I feel like a rich woman every time I go in my closet. The best, hands down, present I've ever received was my husband secretly redid my closet with Closets by Design. So now when I go in there aren't all these shoes just junked on the floor. They're neatly sitting on their shelves. And my necklaces are hanging on their individual hooks, and earrings are in their little squares in this soft drawer that pulls out. It's just gorgeous. In fact, he saw how much I loved it. He had Closets by Design redo the garage. So now all the stuff, the tools, the toys, the junk is all in cabinets. When you open our garage door, you see cars. That's it. It's amazing. The things that Closets by Design can do, and it's going to save you money right now because you get up to 40% off plus an additional 15% off with 18-month financing. You can do so much with your closet, much more than you realize with this wonderful Utah company, Closets by Design. Find out more at 1-800-BY-DESIGN or closetsbydesign.com.
The Utah RV Super Show, the premier RV event of the year, is back at the Mountain America Expo Center Thursday, September 11th through Sunday, September 14th. Come see new 2026 models and special closeout pricing on all 2025 models. The Utah RV Super Show is offering family passes Thursday, September 11th for $10 per family. Unplug from distractions and plug into family at the Utah RV Super Show. Discount passes at UtahRVSupershow.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-486-9600. That's 800-486-9600.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Don't let the wrong gear ruin your time in the field. Upgrade your arsenal with premium brands at great prices during the Shields Hunting Sale event now through September 14th. Score free tax stamps for suppressor purchases over $5.99 and save big on Sitka, Lucky Duck, Shields Outfitters, and shot shells from the top brands. Join the community of hunters who trust Shields experts to outfit their adventures and get more bang for your buck now through September 14th at Shields.
Common Spirit Health has expert orthopedic care that gets you back at it and back to your best. Find skilled orthopedic physicians at Common Spirit locations who specialize in general orthopedics and repair of hips, knees, shoulders, and hands, so you can return to running races or chasing the grandkids. Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Orthopedic care with human kindness is here. Visit mountain.commonspirit.org.
Cougar Sports Saturday. Kyle Ireland alongside Mitch Harper. We are, what is it, Mitch? Just under 8 hours until kick between BYU and Stanford.
And I'm optimistic, too, that there won't be a slide for this game because the game before BYU and Stanford includes a military academy, Army and K-State. So maybe, fingers crossed, we don't get the, signature, hey, the game is being slid to ESPN News. It kicks off at 8:25. Maybe Army will get that thing shrunk quick, and we get that thing started at 8:15, 8:17, and we're on time. Fingers crossed. Maybe I'm getting too optimistic and hoping for a Christmas miracle to not have a slide because typically these 8:15 games always, unofficially bank on it being 8:25. And then it starts on ESPN News.
And then we don't go to bed until 3 a.m. That's really how it ends up, too.
Yeah, typically, because then you got to replay it. You're just so energized. You get done with the game and you're like, I got to rewatch it. It's just what you're wired to do.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the crowd looks like, too, after last week. They had, a record crowd, biggest crowd at LaVell Edwards Stadium since 2009 when TCU came in. And this game, I think more fans are going to stay later than they would for an 8:15 kick just because they're excited to see Bear Bachmeier.
Well, and I think, with Bear Bachmeier, and to your point about staying later, I think an underrated piece to that is that fans that attend, because that was a big talking point last week, was they're still here and it's 69-0. I think they want to see the fire knives in that third quarter to fourth quarter transition. Like, it's a thing. BYU, win or lose, it's kind of this spectacle. Like, oh, what's Cosmo going to do? I can then flex it on the gram and throw it on my TikTok and gain clout and look cool because I was right there. Oh, I see this fire knife twirling and it's awesome. Oh, I'm eating this cougar claw. Oh, I'm doing this. Like, there's so many things that give you aura, that give you clout as an influencer at BYU games. And then you pair it up with good football. Then you pair it up with all the lights, the craziness. Like, BYU football is a thing. And that's why people are staying from start to finish. There was someone that would post on X today, haven't been to a BYU football game since 2019. Has it changed? Now, he was being sarcastic, but he really has. And I thought that was interesting because 2019 is when I started here at KSL, and you were at KSL too at 2019. From then to now, it's night and day difference. The atmosphere at BYU is pretty impressive, and even Kalani Sitake praised the fans after that memorable crowd last week, which was the biggest since 2009 for BYU football.
The biggest highlight for me as a head coach and for our program was the fans. We keep talking about it. I keep hearing the players talk about it in the locker room after the game, and even today you can hear the buzz going around about how amazing our fans were. So, I mean, school's not even in session yet, and the Rock was amazing, and so seeing the student section and all the fans and everybody supported, and they're loud too. So that was really impressive, man, to have that type of atmosphere since 2009. I was told. So that's super special. So just want to let the fans know how much we love and appreciate them, and they have been big time since I remember being part of the fan base when I was a little boy. So it's nice to see them out doing their things and making noise for us.
Yeah, it was a good crowd last week. It was an awesome crowd at LaVell Edwards Stadium. It kind of blew me away when I saw that stat that it was the biggest crowd since 2009. I just thought, wow, that can't be, but sure enough, it was. And what a spectacle, and I expect nothing less tonight as it's a sold-out crowd for BYU and Stanford. And Kalani will be operating the east sideline. On the west sideline will be interim head coach Frank Reich. And Kyle, you had the chance to hop in that press conference with Coach Reich, and
my former head coach.
NFL coach. You're an Indianapolis Colts fan.
Yeah, I'm an Indianapolis guy. Colts. Loved talking to Frank Reich earlier this week. It was fun, and it's interesting. I mentioned, this BYU fan base still has a lot to learn about Bear Bachmeier. Frank Reich, he's familiar with this quarterback after seeing Bear Bachmeier and his brother Tiger during spring ball. And I had the chance to talk with Frank earlier this week, and this is what he had to say about his impressions of Bear from spring practices and then also from BYU's opener.
Yeah, my impressions of him were very positive. And yeah, just from looking at the film and watching the game, some of it on television, he's an explosive athlete, has a strong arm, is a threat to run the ball. So kind of figured that having a little bit of that QB run game would be in there with him, and he's got an explosive arm as well.
I also asked Frank about Bear winning the starting job with BYU and was like, hey, Frank, were you surprised to see Bear win the job after transferring from Stanford to BYU? And Frank Reich said that he wasn't surprised. He said that Bear's a super talented player. He saw that in the few short weeks that he was with him at Stanford on the football field. That'll be a fun matchup tonight to see, the fact that there's a lot of connections, Mitch, between these two programs. They don't have a lot in common, but there are some similarities and there's some, recruiting ties between these two programs.
It's a great point because it is just kind of tongue-in-cheek and funny. Yes, they're both higher education, higher learning entities, but really, when you think culturally, there's not many similarities between BYU and Stanford. These two programs never met on the gridiron until 2003, and I just think that. But it is cool to see this matchup because these two have had so many battles on the recruiting trail for year after year, particularly in the 2010s, and now it feels like BYU is on equal ground and taking it to a higher level, whereas Stanford was kind of left in the wilderness for a little bit before finding a landing spot in the ACC. We'll hear more from Frank Reich coming up a little bit later this show, but coming up next, you'll hear from BYU quarterback Bear Bachmeier. Had a one-on-one conversation with the starting signal caller, and you'll hear it next here on Cougar Sports Saturday.
It's 12:30 at KSL News Radio. Good afternoon. I'm Adam Small with a look at our top stories this half hour. It's game day for the BYU Cougars. They're getting ready to take on Stanford later tonight at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. BYU head coach Kalani Sitake said ahead of the game,
we know we're going to get their best shot. I say it every week. We just need to make sure that we give them our best shot too, but we have a lot of respect and we know that they're in difficult situations, so we know that they're going to come ready to roll.
BYU is looking to improve to 2-0 on the season, hopefully break into the AP Top 25. They were just the first team out. Kickoff is at 8:15. You can catch all the action, including pregame, starting at 6 right here on KSL News Radio. It's also game day for Utah and the Utah State football teams. Utah State was hanging in with Texas A&M early, but the other Aggies are really starting to pull away in the now in halftime. Just reached halftime, and Texas A&M is up 30-6. So Aggies were hanging in for a little bit, but not so much anymore. They were really holding out hope for a big-time upset against an SEC team. Then this afternoon, Utah will be taking on Cal Poly for their home opener at Rice-Eccles Stadium. Utah looking to improve to 2-0 and maintain their top 25 status. Kickoff is at 4 o'clock. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The next Powerball drawings tonight with the jackpot now at $1.8 billion, making it the third largest in Powerball history. Your odds of actually winning, though?
The chances of winning are about 1 in 300 million. To put that into context, you're about 15 times more likely to get struck by lightning than you are to win the Powerball if you buy one ticket.
That's University of Houston professor Christopher Lutzko. Coming up, get another look at the afternoon drive and your weekend weather forecast and where the rain might be moving next. Do that next. KSL News Time, 12:32.
If you've been quoted for a new furnace or AC and it felt more like a sales pitch than a solution, you're not alone. Many home service companies in Utah have been bought out by big corporations focused on profits, not people. At Your Service Pros is different. Locally owned, family operated, 5-star rated and trusted by Utah families for over 20 years. Let them help you with their $49 furnace tune-ups, $39 electrical inspections, and $75 off electrical repairs. Because they know things are tight and want to help you prep your home affordably. Get a free second opinion because you deserve honest answers. If your system can be repaired, they'll fix it. If it needs replacing, they'll show you affordable options. Their goal is to earn your trust, not upsell you. Let At Your Service Pros be your pro and go-to for heating, air, plumbing, and electrical. Call 801-YOUR-PRO or online at atyourservicepros.com. At Your Service Pros. 801-YOUR-PRO.
Hi, this is Doug Ryden. For years, I've been telling you about products I truly believe in and that we use in our home. And one is Kinetico. We all know the downsides of hard water, tough on home appliances, frustrating spots on shower doors, but it also affects your personality. When you shower, does the water feel invigorating? Hard water can leave your skin feeling sticky and itchy. A Kinetico soft water system changes everything. It's like having a luxurious spa experience when you shower, making your daily routine something you look forward to. Kinetico, it's a difference you can feel. Their patented system uses far less salt than competitors, and they're exclusively focused on water softeners. They're the experts in their field, and they'll show you the difference for free with no obligation to buy. Call Kinetico Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer, at 801-576-8600, or check them out online at softwaterutah.com. Start enjoying your water. Spoil yourself every day.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Mom, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotion. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. Consequently, they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Dial pound 250 and say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, everything you need and nothing you don't.
Traffic and weather together is brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account. Now, we have a lot of scattered crashes and issues, but not all of them causing problems. One of them, though, is SR 39, the mouth of Ogden Canyon. Got a lot of delays building up there as crews are working to repair a water line break. Just try to avoid that area if you can. Try to use the North Ogden Divide or another alternative. Also seeing a crash now being called out on northbound I-15 between... just as you're passing Clearfield up around Hill Air Force Base. Looks like that's not causing delays, though. Seeing busy traffic in a few areas of the Wasatch Front, one being in Brigham City, northbound I-15, right as you're about to turn off onto 1100 South. It looks like that crash is not causing delays, but the delays themselves are on 1100 South around all those shopping centers there, as well as Brigham City's Main Street. Also seeing busy traffic right now as you're leaving Tooele heading into Salt Lake County. Lake Point, SR 36, as you're leaving, merging onto eastbound I-80. There's some busy traffic there. Also seeing a lot more busy traffic on Pioneer Crossing, as well as 2100 North in Lehigh. One night only, Ice Dream, September 10th at the Sports Complex. See Olympic legends Nancy Kerrigan, Jason Brown, Ashley Kane, and Gracie Gold. Tickets selling fast at icedreamstour.com. Don't miss it. KSL weather, not a lot of condensed or widespread areas of rain. We're seeing a little bit over Morgan and Colville right now, but the rest of the Wasatch Front widely staying dry right now. But look for a chance of thunderstorms this afternoon, a high of 83 expected. Look for a high of 87 tomorrow, 88 on Monday. Then from there, getting cooler. Could be seeing highs only in the 70s by next weekend. Right now, it's 75 degrees, mostly cloudy in downtown Salt Lake City. I'm Adam Small at KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
That's caught! Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary and gets in for 6.
Cougar Sports Saturday, a presentation of KSL Sports.
Richie right to the rim, driving score! He would not be denied!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Sponsored by Any Hour Services, electrical, plumbing, heating, and air. Your hosts are Mitch Harper and Kyle Ireland. On Utah's legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
We're live here at Broadcast House in Salt Lake City, Utah, watching a Big 12 ACC game right now in action. Baylor and SMU. We'll see BYU, a Big 12, and Stanford, an ACC team. Yes, that's still weird to say. In action tonight, 8:15, but we'll get a check-in around the Big 12 Conference coming up on the other side. But right now, I want to play my conversation that I had with BYU starting quarterback Bear Bachmeier. And true freshman signal caller is getting ready to face his old team. He was part of the Stanford Cardinal during the spring quarter out on the farm before he made the decision to transfer to BYU, and now he's BYU's QB1. It's my conversation with Bear Bachmeier here on KSL News Radio.
Thing I want to ask you, just what was your overall assessment? How have you unpacked that first game? How did you kind of analyze it, break down your play? How did you go through that and now move forward at Stanford?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was getting acclimated to the environment. Again, 60,000 plus, and just getting acclimated. And then obviously, I thought it was a great team win, and so we just got to continue to stack days and continue to stack wins.
I'm curious, Bear, you just kind of taking a step back throughout your football career. When did football become your priority? Because I've read in your bio that you had multi-sport background, baseball and basketball. When did football, become your main focus?
Yeah, I always knew I was the best at football. My dad and my brothers always encouraged me to play multiple sports because we think it's a translation and to quarterback and playing quarterback. So I continued to play baseball and basketball in high school, and I guess I dialed in, my senior year with football. But, I was always working at quarterback throughout my whole life.
And speaking of your family, what did they think of the game day environment? I know they were with you on the official visit when you're going through the transfer process, but what did they think of game day at LES?
Yeah, they thought it was crazy. Hank was making an analogy or Hank and his fiance were making an analogy to Boise State and Boise State times 2, just because it's more populated and the acoustics it gets loud, man. It gets loud, and so it was a special environment, and they validated that as well.
When you broke down the film, what do you want to improve on?
Yeah, like I said after the game, and it was kind of validated. Was just getting off to a faster start. We want to move the ball on our first series, and we always want to put up points. But I think just having a more sound first drive.
Going through the spring quarter at Stanford, do you think that helps you at all in your preparation for this, knowing their personnel a little bit?
Yeah, yes and no. I know some of the guys, but there's it's multifaceted. There's so many factors that come into play. They're probably going to, marry up their scheme, and we're going to marry up our scheme as well. So, yes and no.
Safe to say that just maybe a fraction of this playbook was maybe used in game 1.
Yeah. That's kind of how you do it. You never want to show everything in week 1, and so we're continuously adding plays and scheming up against Stanford.
How happy are you with the decision to transfer to BYU from Stanford?
Yeah, I think everything happens for a reason, and I'm pretty happy.
And were there other schools that you considered besides BYU in the portal?
Yeah, and also I got nothing but love for Stanford. I loved it there. But yeah, coming out the portal. Yeah, there was schools and but I'm happy here at BYU.
First thoughts on day 1 of being a fall semester student at BYU. What's classes like at BYU compared to your time at Stanford?
Yeah, it's great. I'm in a lot of introductory classes, so there's probably 200 people in the class. At Stanford, I was in classes with like 20 people, so I think getting acclimated to the big lectures and kind of that environment. But it's great.
You and Tiger loving it then here so far?
Yeah, we actually have a accounting 200 here, so I guess it's a pretty hard class, but we'll get it done.
Last couple things here for you, Bear. You were utilizing the run game a little bit, 5 carries last week against Portland State. How much of a role is that going to play going forward, you think, in this offense with A-Rod?
Yeah, I think it's a big role. When you can add an extra hat into the run game, why not? And, I think there's a fine line, and Coach A-Rod does a great job of scheming that up. So, I think there's a fine line, but I think it's a big role.
How much are you embracing just being, QB1, true freshman? It's probably a lot for you, but just embracing the spotlight that comes with being the starting quarterback at BYU.
Yeah, embracing it a lot. I mean, it's really cool, but at the end of the day, it's a team, and so I give credit to the guys around me for our wins, and so yeah.
Final thing, just a key for victory for the offense as you go up against the Stanford defense.
Yeah, I mean, we just want to take it one play at a time. We want to run the ball, and I'm not going to give away our secrets, but yeah, we just first downs, and first downs leads to touchdowns, and so but we want to run the ball, and we also want to throw it around a little too. So yeah, it's a game plan.
Got to be a nice luxury though to have the playmakers around you to make that work though.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be a distributor, and you got to get the ball in our playmakers' hands and let them go make plays.
Well, Bear, best of luck against Stanford this week, and appreciate the time, and again, best of luck going forward.
Yeah, thank you so much.
That's Bear Bachmeyer, BYU starting quarterback, here on KSL News Radio. Cougar Sports Saturday, sponsored by Any Hour Services, electric, plumbing, heating, and air. Big opportunity for Bear. Do you think he's going to be rattled by facing his old team at all?
No, I don't think so. I think the familiarity will actually be fun for him to be able to have, an easy game in the first game, and then to be able to have something that's familiar in the second game. Frank Reich actually talked about that, and if it was an advantage for either program to have Tiger and Barrett going from Stanford to BYU. And I think that was something that, was an interesting thought from Frank Reich, and this is what he had to say.
I really don't think so. Someone here, we were talking about that earlier, but, we were both ways, on what we know about Bear and Tiger, and but on what they know about us. And listen, my experience with that kind of thing is that it usually gets overrated. So I'm not particularly worried about, what they're telling them about what we do, because honestly, we've changed a good bit from when they were here as well. And they run a different scheme than we run. And so I think right now we're early in the season. I think both teams are focused on our players and what we do more than anything else.
I think that's a good point by Frank Reich there. These teams so early on in the year, they're still trying to figure out things. BYU's trying to figure out who they are as an offense with Bear Bachmeyer running things as QB1. And, I think it'll be fun to have those familiar connections. You've got a number of guys, like we said earlier in the program, that have been recruited or even have committed to Stanford that are now playing for BYU. Local ties on Stanford's side of things as well with the state of Utah, guys that played high school football here. But we're going to take a quick timeout. On the other side, we're going to check in with the rest of the Big 12 Conference. We're watching a game right now between a Big 12 program in Baylor facing another ACC team in SMU. We'll give you a score update on the other side, but you've been listening to Cougar Sports Saturday with Kyle Ireland and Mitch Harper, powered by KSL Sports.
Power outages happen year-round, and they're always unexpected. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and some people have medical equipment that needs to stay on, or maybe you don't want the hundreds of dollars of food in the freezer to spoil. Regardless of the reasons, Any Hour Services can help with a backup generator. Now, a lot of people think that backup generators cost thousands of dollars, but we have packages that'll run the essentials and start at less than $2,500. That includes the generator, the connections from the generator to the house, and the installation. We also carry and install larger generators that can run the whole house and kick on automatically when the power goes out. Of course, those cost more, but if you call right now, you can save $1,000 on any standby generator purchase over 9,000 watts. A licensed electrician from Any Hour Services will walk you through the process and show you what options are available. And if you need it, we have flexible financing options available, even if you've been told no in the past. To schedule a free estimate, call Any Hour Services today. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
When you choose Performance Automotive in Bountiful, you're choosing selection, convenience, and exceptional service. With 3 locations, Performance Ford Lincoln, Performance Honda, and Performance Toyota, Performance Automotive is here to serve your needs. Performance Automotive in Bountiful, where excellence comes standard. Start your search at performancebountiful.com.
A 15-year-old girl who chewed through a rope to escape a serial killer.
I used my front teeth to saw on the rope in my mouth.
The killer prowled the Pacific Northwest in the early 70s. He's been convicted of murdering 2 young women, but suspected of many more.
Maybe there's another one in that area.
Follow Stolen Voices of Dole Valley now, so you don't miss an episode.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up, like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Imagine struggling with a slow, outdated computer that takes forever to load anything, that randomly freezes up and is filled with viruses and malware.
Now picture yourself with a powerful desktop or laptop that runs smoothly and efficiently, making your work and entertainment seamless. Take one home today. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else do you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited, because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
You know, in Box Elder County, they're all about the bucket list. Want to go birding at the premier birding destination in the western United States? Well, check off the Bear River Migratory Bird Refuge. How about land art? The spiral jetty and sun tunnels will leave you inspired. Or stand on the spot where the Union and Central Pacific Railroads joined and forged the destiny of a nation. Yep, Golden Spike National Historical Park is like no other place. Check. Splash, boat, camp, or fish your day away? Willard Bay State Park will guarantee a good time. Soak in a natural hot spring with the highest mineral content in the world? That would be Crystal Hot Springs. You'll feel rejuvenated. Eat at Utah's original steakhouse. Maddox Ranch House is perfection. Check. A 1920s diner. The Idle Owl Cafe will transport you back in time. As you empty your Box Elder County bucket list, you'll find a whole new set of adventures to fill it up again. Fill up your bucket list at visitboxeldercounty.com.
Cougar Sports Saturday here on KSL News Radio, a BYU football game day. Mitch Harper and Kyle Ireland with you. KSL News Time, 12:51 p.m. on this Saturday, September 6th. And right now, let's get a check-in on the Big 12 Conference. Week 2 action around the league and light slate nationally in college football, but the Big 12 is pretty loaded with some marquee non-conference matchups, starting off with a Cy-Hawk rivalry. Number 16 Iowa State, who's 2-0, tied up with Iowa 13-13. The Cyclones, I believe, were up 13-0, and then they blew that lead, and then Iowa had an offensive firepower by Hawkeye standards and tied it up, 12:03 to go in Ames. And then the game we're watching here in the studio, SMU, number 17, up 31-24. They just scored a touchdown just moments ago on Baylor, 13:30 to go. Baylor starts 0-2, Kyle. Do you think Dave Aranda goes back on the hot seat, the head coach of Baylor?
Yeah, and they just turned the ball over again.
Oh,
Mitch.
my goodness.
My goodness.
Baylor, too, was a team that some thought could maybe win the league. You start 0-2 in non-conference. Now, granted, I respect the effort to go Auburn and SMU in non-conference.
You got to win one of those games, though.
Exactly. You got to win one, and one of them was in Auburn. Like, there's still time, but not looking good for Baylor on the hilltop in Dallas. SMU, by the way, they haven't beat Baylor since before the death penalty days. It's been a long time, the old Southwest Conference rivals. Texas Tech is rolling through Kent State. Number 24 Red Raiders, who have Baron Morton, the quarterback, who's been dealing with some shin soreness. He played today. They're up 55-7 on Kent State. And then some games coming up later, 1:30 p.m., Oklahoma State and Oregon. Can't believe Mike Gundy complaining about non-conference scheduling, saying teams should just start to schedule based on the budgets, because he's saying that Oregon paid $40 million for its roster, and he claims that Oklahoma State only paid $7 million over the last 3 years for its rosters. Look, Gundy overhauled everything in Stillwater, including the coaching staff. The only common denominator from last year's failure to this year really is Mike Gundy. And at some point you say, you've let Oklahoma State fall this far. At what point do the Pokes just say, you know what, enough's enough? I'm not optimistic about Oklahoma State's chances in Eugene. Do you think there's any chance they hang at all? At all?
I mean, Oregon's offense is amazing.
Oklahoma State's going to get wrecked.
And I also love, I mean, you mentioned Mike Gundy in the press conference. I love these coaches when they go back and forth at each other, Mitch, like Dan Lanning like responding to Mike Gundy. I think that like adds a nice element. You don't see that at in pro football. You don't see that at the NFL level as much. And it really just adds to something special with college football.
Because the NFL doesn't have this dumb lack of transparency when it comes to money and how rosters are built. Yeah. You all expect that you're going to spend at least $50 million. That's like maybe $150, $250 million on your roster, whereas in college football, someone says, this team's throwing out $50 million for its roster. BYU's bagged you. They've paid $40 million for AJ DeBonsa.
Well, there's no actual evidence and transparency into these numbers. So like people throw out these crazy things, and then like anything that does leak out that's like, somewhat official, you're like, oh wait, that was like completely off of what I heard 6 months ago.
And my argument too to Mike Gundy, when you get between the lines, it doesn't matter what your media rights dollars are, your rev share. Execute at a high level and play the game. Or else, if you're having this mindset, he's just trying to set up his fan base, say, hey, this is why we're losing. Like, no one's going to buy that excuse.
They're a 4-touchdown underdog today.
Not a good look, because Oklahoma State used to be one of the great brands in the Big 12, and that is falling off a cliff. Now, their quarterback last week, Haas Haney, he looked really good, but then he suffered an injury. They go to Zane Flores, and it was just kind of a mess from there. Kansas plays Missouri at 1:30 p.m., the old Big 12 border war. Heated rivalry renewed for the first time in 14 years. That's in Columbia, Missouri. I want Kansas to win, but I just get the sense Mizzou's going to come away on top. Who do you got in that one? Kansas, Missouri?
I think that Kansas is actually going to win that game.
They're 2-0. They look good.
Yeah, no, I think that, granted, like, it is a road game, so like that's the element that may swing it for Mizzou, just being able to have that home field with the rivalry. I think that, that'll be a fun one to watch as well. What do you make of the game later tonight, though, between Arizona State and Mississippi State, another SEC matchup for the Big 12?
Big game, 5:30 p.m. on ESPN2. I've got ASU winning, and I've got them winning big. But then there's also this part of me of ASU's going to pull an ASU of old. I guess I'm really bought into Kenny Dillingham and how good Leavitt and Jordan Tyson looked in Week 1. ASU had a Kenny Dillingham era high 12 penalties in their win last week over Northern Arizona. Kind of a sloppy game, 38-19. And that's typically what you expect in Week 1s. And that's why it was so impressive what BYU did, scoring 69 and not having many penalties. But I think Arizona State wins. I think they pull it out. But just something tells me Mississippi State might hang, maybe. But I want to say for the Big 12, they get that win, and ASU takes care of business and rolls with a big win. Last year, they were up huge on Mississippi State and in Tempe until the Bulldogs kind of made the score look a little bit closer than it actually was. But I'll go with ASU. Are you in agreement, or are you going with the Bullies?
Yeah, I'm going to go with ASU in that one as well. I'm not going to just pick one just to be different than you, Mitch. I'm going to go with ASU. I think that their offense is really good. I think Sam Leavitt's a super talented quarterback. I'm excited to see what they can do in the Big 12 this season. I also think that, there's a couple of games that we have to mention here with local ties. I know this is a BYU-centered program, but we've got Utah also taking on Cal Poly tonight, and then Arizona hosts Weber State coming down to Tucson tonight for the Wildcats. But we've got this one between SMU and Baylor. We've got a little over 9 minutes left in the game. SMU up 31-24. Do you think Baylor's able to pull it out, able to come back?
I don't. I think SMU holds on in this one.
About to score again.
SMU's in the red zone right now. But, you bring up Utah. They're hosting Cal Poly. Utah looked really good last week against UCLA. I think that, probably the most dynamic quarterback I think they've had since, this maybe it's a hot take, but I think Devin Dampier's probably their best quarterback they've had since Alex Smith. I know they've had
Do we know that, though, Mitch?
I think the big thing I look at with that, this isn't just some, Ute homer take or something. Like, obviously not. This is a BYU show. But I think Devin Dampier's well coached. I think Jason Peck's an excellent developer of quarterbacks. And if you tie it back to BYU, I mean, he was excellent developing guys at BYU. When Taysom Hill was at the ground level, he kind of built Taysom up into a special quarterback, one that was dynamite at BYU. I think Dampier will be really good. Now, I think there's a long season. There's a lot of twists and turns. I think Utah, though, their schedule sets up quite well. I was saying this in the summertime. People would say, oh, my gosh, Utah's got the toughest schedule in the league. And I go, not really, because, yes, they've got Texas Tech, but it's at home. They've got K-State. Well, that's not looking great. That's also at home. They've also got Colorado. It's at home. They go at Baylor. That doesn't look as daunting, potentially. They go at Kansas to close out the season. That could be a big one, potentially. They got ASU, but it's at home. They go at BYU. Tough game, sure, but they don't have to go on a plane ride. They go 6 straight weeks in the middle of the season without leaving the state of Utah, whereas BYU, you go from Utah October 18th down to about really the Cincinnati game, November 22nd. That is a gauntlet of a schedule, but everyone's like, BYU's got the easiest schedule in the league. No, they don't, because BYU goes Utah, Iowa State, Texas Tech, TCU, then Cincinnati. That is a gauntlet in the Big 12 for BYU coming up a little bit later. But I think Utah will be good. I think it still takes some time. Like, it was one game. I don't think UCLA is that good. If BYU blows the doors off of Stanford, I expect the same sort of reaction where, oh my gosh, get BYU into the rankings. Let's see it happen.
But I think that's my point, is you don't know how good any of these teams are until October.
Well said. I mean, we've seen many years where BYU jumps off to a 4-0 start and then they crater in the midseason. I'd like to think BYU's a lot different these days in the Big 12, but there's always ebbs and flows.
Brands and preseason rankings skew so many things.
Let's get to a break. On the other side, we'll get to more BYU football talk next.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City.
Good afternoon, 1 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Adam Small to look at our top stories this hour. University of Utah students are excited about their football team's home opener today against Cal Poly this afternoon. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson has more.
The team's new quarterback seems to have infused fans with excitement about the season. Mark, a sophomore from the U, says Devin Dampier looked really good in the first game against UCLA.
I think, he looks very dynamic out there. We've only seen one game so far, so there's still a lot more to see, but definitely started off really well and made me excited for the season.
Some freshmen I talked to, like Ashley, are new to being Utes fans, but they're excited to support a team that recently made the AP Top 25.
I think it seems pretty good. I didn't watch last year, so I don't know how much better we are last year, but I think it'll be pretty good.
And after smashing UCLA on the road last week, sophomore Matt thinks the Utes will do the same to Cal Poly tomorrow at home.
We're going to kill Cal Poly.
Kickoff for the home opener is at 4 o'clock. From the University of Utah, Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
It's also game day for BYU as well as the Utah State Aggies. Utah State was really hanging in with Texas A&M early, but the other Aggies really opened up a game in the second quarter with a 20-0 run. But now Utah State has just scored in the third quarter, so now they're down 30-14, and it looks like they still have the ball. So keeping it interesting, but right now 19th ranked Texas A&M still way ahead of Utah State right now. Then tonight, of course, the BYU Cougars will be at home to take on the Stanford Cardinal. BYU looking to improve to 2-0 before hitting the road the next 2 weeks. Kickoff from Lavelle Edwards Stadium's at 8:15, and you can catch all the action, including pregame, starting at 6 right here on KSL News Radio. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. More than 25 million Americans are on high alert for flash floods, damaging winds, and heavy rain from Pennsylvania all the way to Maine.
We have a very sharp cold front coming through this afternoon. That's going to bring the chance for some severe storms. We're talking strong gusty winds, hail, and maybe even a few weak spin-up tornadoes. Really, after about 2 o'clock, I say all bets are off. And of course, that buys you a little bit more time in places like New England, Boston, down to, say, New Haven and Hartford. But eventually, this front bears down on you, too, as we head towards this evening and into tonight.
That's ABC News meteorologist Jeff Banson. Coming up, we'll take a look at the afternoon drive and your weather forecast for tonight's game, as well as the rest of the weekend. That's next. KSL News Time 102.
Ticket packages for the Utah Mammoth 2025-26 season are available now. From full season and half-season packages to mini plans and other flexible options, choose the ticket package that fits you best and be part of the action all season long. Call or text 801-325-PUCK to talk with a rep or visit nhl.com/Utah/tickets/season tickets to learn more.
It's summer, and we all know what that means. It's officially moving season, a time filled with hours of packing, unpacking, and so much bubble wrap. But the first thing you should do when moving into your new home is make sure that the Wi-Fi is booming with Xfinity. It's super quick and easy to set up. Then, boom! You'll have your new home hooked up with the ultimate Wi-Fi experience faster than the time it takes to parallel park a moving truck. Then you'll be back online with the most reliable Wi-Fi with the best-in-class equipment from Xfinity, so you can just kick back, relax, and stream your favorite movies and TV shows while somebody else deals with those boxes. Because with Xfinity, the only thing you'll have to worry about is remembering where you packed the remote. Make the right and easy move with Xfinity. Learn more at xfinity.com/move. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi claim based on Open Signal Awards USA fixed broadband experience report August 2024. Go to xfinity.com/move.
At Intermountain Health, we believe life is a circle. May yours surround you with insight, a healthy perspective, trust, and reassurance. The belief that our differences aren't that different, and compassion just when you need it most. Life is a circle. May yours help you live the healthiest life possible. Intermountain Health.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to the end of summer sale at AutoZone. We're celebrating the end of long days and short nights with big deals for a short time, like car wash. Right now, you can save 20% on the Armor All Complete Car Wash Kit. Need new brakes? Duralast brake pads are free with the purchase of Duralast rotors. We've also got oil deals and more. We're ending the summer right with the end of summer sale at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Hi, it's me, Flo, here to tell you that with a Progressive Home and Auto Bundle, you get 24/7 protection, so you're covered no matter where the day takes you.
Even bad hair day?
Yep.
And tree branch fell on my car day?
Especially that day. Progressive has you covered 24/7 for your home and auto.
How about thought it was chicken, but it was tuna day? Or overnight construction outside my bedroom day?
Those days too.
Great, because that was each day this week.
Been there. Well, at least your home and auto are covered every day with Progressive.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states.
The Garden Restaurant has been open for a few months, and if you haven't stopped by, now is the time to check it out. Open weekdays 11 to 3. Fresh flavors, iconic location. The Garden Restaurant.
Traffic and weather together is brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account. Do you have a new crash that's causing some problems? This is on westbound 5300 south as you are approaching the I-15 ramps. So it's right as you're crossing 100 west. You're about to come up on Cottonwood Street. Looks like a couple of right lanes are blocked there westbound as you're trying to make your way over to I-15. So we're seeing some pretty good delays start to stack up there. Crews are also still trying to repair a water line break at the mouth of Ogden Canyon. Still seeing some really heavy backups, especially eastbound going into the canyon as people are trying to go up to Huntsville and Pineview Reservoir. So big delays there on SR 39 at the mouth of the canyon, as well as westbound a little bit, making your way back in. Just try to avoid that area altogether as you can while crews continue to work to fix that water line. Otherwise, no other crashes right now. A lot of the other ones have cleared up. We are still seeing some patches of busy traffic in spots, especially right now on Mountain View around 3500 South, seeing some busy traffic around that intersection. Also, busy traffic on portions of SR 73, 2100 North, and Pioneer Crossing down in Utah County. The 9th annual My Gluten Free World Expo is being held September 26th and 27th at the Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy. Come see over 100 vendors showcasing the best of gluten-free. Guess all weather, working our way up to a daily high of 83 degrees today. We are seeing a little bit of scattered rain around Utah right now. In terms of the Wasatch Front, not a lot of rain falling. It's more around Morgan, Colville, a little bit up towards North Ogden, but mostly up in the mountains right now and over the northwest portion of the Great Salt Lake. But keep an eye out for a chance of thunderstorms this afternoon. Got a high of 87 tomorrow, 88 Monday, and then working our way down gradually temperature-wise the rest of the week. By next weekend, we could see highs just in the 70s.
Right now it's 78 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Adam Small at KSL News Radio 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
That's caught! Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary and gets in for 6.
Cougar Sports Saturday, a presentation of KSL Sports.
Richie right to the rim, driving score! He would not be denied!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Sponsored by Any Hour Services, electrical, plumbing, heating, and air. Your hosts are Mitch Harper and Kyle Ireland. On Utah's legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
A little over 7 hours until we are underway between the Stanford Cardinal and the BYU Cougars at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. You can hear that game on KSL News Radio at 8:15 p.m. And now it's time for my conversation that I had earlier this week with a former Stanford recruit, a guy who the Cardinal wanted and BYU ended up getting, and that is senior wideout Chase Roberts. This is what Chase had to say about the matchup with Stanford.
Went over Portland State, a game in which you had a touchdown and your only touch of the game.
Yeah.
Obviously, the offseason making the decision to come back to BYU. How special was it for you to come into the game, feel the energy of Lavelle Edwards Stadium again, and then get a touchdown just to start your season on that right note?
It was so awesome. Just fun, especially with all the new guys coming and them being able to get some playing time. It was cool to see. I thought at the end of the first half, I saw everyone leaving, but they were only going to the bathroom and getting snacks, and then they came right back and finished the last 2 quarters. It just shows how loyal and how amazing our fans are, and we're excited for Game 2 against Stanford.
You were recruited by Stanford. Can you talk about what that experience was like, and how interesting is it for you as a player to compete against teams that, were recruiting you out of high school, out of American Fork?
It is fun. It was a lot more fun when I was younger, and it was the guys that were there recruiting me. Now that so much time has passed, it's a whole different staff, whole different team, and it's still fun, though, to see some of those guys that are there and to be able to play against them, say hi after, and know that, it's a competitive, fun sport that we're all connected somehow, and we all support and love each other, and just go out and compete and do what we love. So it's been awesome.
Last time BYU played Stanford was in 2022, and you played in that game. You actually ran the ball for 5 yards in that game. What do you remember about playing on the farm that day?
I remember that we ran the ball a lot, and that it was just a fun game to be with the team. The atmosphere, being at Stanford, there's not a lot of, stuff going on, but they're awesome. It's going to be fun to be at home this time and have the energy of our stadium and our fans, and just excited to get going and throwing the ball a little more and just scoring a lot of points. So hopefully we do that and go out and do what we do.
You think back to 2022 and maybe what's all taken place in the season since then and where your career is taking you today. How do you summarize your career to this point from, coming out of American Fork, going on your mission, come back, and now you're at BYU and a senior. You're one of the team captains again for a second straight year. How do you summarize your college career to this point?
There's been a lot of miracles and a lot of ups and downs, a lot of growing. Just so grateful for BYU and what it stands for and how I'm able to be myself and to spread the light of Christ and to try to be, the best example that I can be to the younger generation, to fans, to everyone at BYU and outside of BYU. So it's just brought so many opportunities, not only in football but in life, and I'm so grateful for every moment. Can't wait for the rest of the season and just being a part of this special university where we can spread light and be a part of something amazing and also win a lot of football games and have fun on the field.
What did it mean to you to have your teammates vote you as a team captain again this season?
It's an honor. It puts a lot of pressure on you as well, just knowing that they want you to step up and to be that leader, to get this team going, to make plays on the field, and then to do the right thing off the field. And it's kept me in line, wanting to be that person, to be the best leader that I can possibly could possibly be. And it's just awesome to be around these guys and to be able to, try to help them. Put my arm around them and be that leader that they need, that friend that they need, and ultimately go out, make plays, and win games. So it's been an honor, and I'm so grateful for my brothers.
I'm sure you've been asked about it a lot so far throughout fall camp, but I wanted to get your take on it. As a leader, looking down to, some of your younger teammates, one of those guys is true freshman quarterback Bear Bachmeyer. What did you think of his performance in his first start, and what do you see for him for the rest of this year?
Yeah, I wasn't worried at the beginning. I knew that Bear would come out and just be himself, and that's who he is. He's Bear, and he's going to do what he does. He's not super sporadic and changing up and down, his emotions. He's always just who he is, which keeps the team calm, knowing that he can make plays in any situation. So cool for him to go out and ball out his first game, and I'm excited to see him, do the same the rest of the season.
You're one of a handful of guys on this team that are out of American Fork High School. Yeah, there's a lot of us. Do you see that pipeline in your teammates? Do you feel that? And is there something to be said about where BYU is as far as like a Utah County recruiting base and bringing those guys and keeping them home in Utah County to come play at BYU compared to maybe when you were coming out of high school?
Yeah, it's awesome to see the discipline that we've had as, kids from local kids from American Fork, to see the coaching that we had growing up, and a lot of credit to our high school coaches that helped us understand what it takes to be a good football player and to excel at the next level. And it's not just on the football field, but outside of the football field, taking care of everything in our life. And it's cool to see those guys not only be amazing football players, but amazing people off the field. I think that's why, at BYU we excel so much, is because we focus not only being a good football player, but being a good person.
A couple last things for you, Chase. You host your own podcast. What's that been like for you to, have conversations that, involve football, but are also about things outside of football, things that are more important than that?
Yeah, we just want to show people that it's, football is definitely a priority and a top, focus for us, but it's not the only thing, right? It's not number one. And we put God first in our life, and we know that as we do so, everything else will fall into place. Hopefully we can be examples, like I've said, to that younger generation, and, prioritize the things that you need to, and everything else will fall into place. But keep God first in your life. Yeah.
Last thing, you've got Stanford coming up. It's the only power conference team on your non-conference schedule. And then you go to East Carolina after a bye, and then you get into Big 12 play. You've got it feels like a good ramp up to your schedule before you get into conference play. You face Colorado, last game of last season. But what do you hope to gain out of these weeks going into Big 12 play? And then how do you want to finish out your time at BYU as a senior?
Yeah, I hope that we can learn a lot these next few games, especially as we head into our Big 12 play. Make mistakes. This is a time to throw the ball and to run and to see the different schemes and to get together as an offense, especially with a new quarterback. And I think making mistakes is okay, right? And then practicing, getting these 3 weeks of practice to get ready, for when we do go to Colorado. And we're not overlooking these teams that we're playing first. We're focused on Stanford, obviously, and going out and hopefully being perfect on the field. But I think as we, get out the little things that we're still learning and growing, all the growing pains that come with a new quarterback and with some new guys on offense, it happens. So I know that as we, do the little things right, and as we just play hard and do our best, we'll be ready. And especially when Big 12 play comes, we'll be rocking and rolling. So it's perfect.
Thanks, Chase. Appreciate it. Best of luck against Stanford and for the rest of this season.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
That was my conversation with senior wideout Chase Roberts. I think that Chase is poised for a big game tonight, Mitch. I think that we saw him score a touchdown in his only target last week against Portland State, and then he didn't have, much to show for the rest of the half. It was like, we know what you can do, Chase. We know that you're going to be our number one guy. And so, let's put you on ice for the rest of the Portland State game, and then we'll see what you can do in week 2 against Stanford. I think that, he also was a recruiting target from Stanford. And so I love that element to these games where, there's the familiarity. even, with the changes that have taken place with these programs over the years, it's fun to see that in college football. But what do you think Chase's his number is going to look like tonight? How many receptions, how many yards do you think he has, more than one touchdown?
I think he gets about, 7 targets in this game. I think BYU's going to throw the football a little bit more. They still want to run the ball. I think early and often with L.J. Martin and Sione Moa, they want to establish the ground attack. But I think Chase is going to get more receptions. I know Bear Bachmeier really formed a close relationship with JoJo Phillips in fall camp. We expect a bigger workload for him too. But then there's the safety valve and Carson Ryan. That ball, that 22-yard touchdown pass that Bear threw to Carson last week wasn't the most accurate ball, but Carson Ryan closed the gap and made that catch to give Bear Bachmeier a touchdown grab. But I expect a bigger workload for Chase in this game. Let's take a break, as tonight, BYU fans, it's going to be a sold-out crowd. You got to wear white. We'll look back at the history of whiteouts for BYU football here on Cougar Sports Saturday on KSL News Radio.
Do you know why more homeowners choose Any Hour Services for help when it's time to replace their air conditioners? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and the main reasons people choose Any Hour Services is because of our people, processes, and convenience. People tell us all the time that there's just something different about having an Any Hour Services technician in their home. That's why most of our over 18,000 Google reviews mention our technicians by name. Another reason is our 7-step install process that we call the Any Hour Difference. It all starts with a needs analysis where you explain what you like and dislike about your current system. This helps us design and size a system that fits your comfort and efficiency preferences as well as your home's airflow requirements. As for convenience, most of our installs are completed in one day. We also have flexible, no money down financing options available, even if you've been told no in the past. So if you've been thinking about getting a new air conditioner, call Any Hour Services and schedule a free estimate today. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Worried about market losses? If headlines are keeping you up at night, it's time to take control. Hi, I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I know you've worked hard to save. But in times like these, what if can turn into what now? If you're planning to retire or are in retirement, you need a strategy that helps protect your future. At Trajan Wealth, you can capture market gains, protect your account from losses, and guarantee income for life. Right now, you could receive a bonus of up to 30% or annual growth of up to 10% for retirement income. You heard me right. An upfront bonus of up to 30% or annual growth of up to 10%, all guaranteed to boost your lifetime income in retirement. Don't leave your future to chance. Plan with confidence. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company, DBA, in most states as Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Healthcare with human kindness is here. It's at Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Together, we have a common purpose, partnering with you in health and healing using powerful medicine, powerful technology, and the greatest power of all, human kindness. You'll know it when you see it, because human kindness is in every care site and in every caregiver. Common Spirit Health. Hello, human kindness.
Ticket packages for the Utah Mammoth 2025-26 season are available now. From full season and half-season packages to mini plans and other flexible options, choose the ticket package that fits you best and be part of the action all season long. Call or text 801-325-PUCK to talk with a rep or visit NHL.com/Utah/tickets/season tickets to learn more.
You know, in Box Elder County, they're all about the bucket list. Want to go birding at the premier birding destination in the western United States? Well, check off the Bear River Migratory Bird Refuge. How about land art? The spiral jetty and sun tunnels will leave you inspired. Or stand on the spot where the Union and Central Pacific Railroads joined and forged the destiny of a nation. Yep, Golden Spike National Historical Park is like no other place. Check. Splash, boat, camp, or fish your day away? Willard Bay State Park will guarantee a good time. Soak in a natural hot spring with the highest mineral content in the world? That would be Crystal Hot Springs. You'll feel rejuvenated. Eat at Utah's original steakhouse. Maddox Ranch House is perfection. Check. A 1920s diner. The Idle Owl Cafe will transport you back in time. As you empty your Box Elder County bucket list, you'll find a whole new set of adventures to fill it up again. Fill up your bucket list at visitboxeldercounty.com.
Cougar Sports Saturday. I love this song. K-pop Demon Hunters. Golden. I'm feeling the vibes. It was also accompanied on a Chase Roberts touchdown grab on social media. And I think that kicked it into high gear. I'm like, there's just so much aura. There's just so much mystique behind this with this song. Give me K-pop all the time. I secretly kind of like K-pop. I'm not going to lie.
Mitch, you're a cultured man.
I am.
Doing your music and your TikToks. I'm too busy listening to Swag 2 right now. Speed Demon's my beat.
Sometimes outside of practice, when we're waiting for practice, post-practice availabilities on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we'll be outside the fence because the student-athlete building's renovated and just talk with the media. And I think sometimes to myself, the things that I'm saying, they're probably like the other media members from other outlets are like, what is wrong with Mitch? Oh, you're watching what on Netflix? Hunting what? We don't need to get into that, but it's not bad. Check it out. Golden K-pop Demon Hunters. I watched that too. I'm a fan. My daughter likes it. We look, BYU's living in a golden era. I thought it was topical too, Kyle. It's golden. These are golden times for BYU sports these days, and they look to be even more golden with tonight, BYU and Stanford, 8:15 kick. And it'll be with the backdrop of a whiteout. I love this pull from our producer, Nate Slack, and he put out an extensive list of the whiteouts for BYU, and he put a ranking, the best and worst whiteouts. And what's funny is last week at the game against Portland State, I saw a fan in it was the southeast corner. They were waiting for the players to come out of the locker room. And I saw a fan wearing a whiteout T-shirt from this original whiteout game, 2006 Utah State, the all-out whiteout shirt. Dude had it tucked into his jeans, nice belt buckle. I'm like, that dude's got aura. He's golden. He's golden. He's got great mystique.
That old of a white shirt. It
looked
dingy?
great. I was like, wow.
Pristine still,
I get a white
after
shirt.
all the years, huh?
I get a white shirt, and I go to dinner, and it's done. It's over, man. It's a stain. It's got some mustard stain or something, and it just looks awful. And it's like, oh, yeah, typical grungy media member, all sloppy with a stain on the shirt. But 2006 Utah State was the first whiteout that we know of. Nate looked at this back in the history books of BYU. Or some of your favorite whiteouts over the years for BYU football at LES?
Yeah, I think probably, 2015 Boise State's hard to beat with the Hail Mary from Tanner Mangum to win the game there at the end. Following up on 10-year anniversary of the Nebraska game a week before. That was this last week, Mitch. It's been 10 years since that. It's crazy how time flies. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was 10 years ago.
I thought it was so cool on the field. I took a picture of my freshly new Apple Watch because it showed the BYU-Nebraska score. I thought, this is so cool. I've got a score of a BYU game on my Apple Watch because it just came out 10 years ago.
Oh, my gosh.
Time flies,
man.
Time
flies.
It's rolling.
Yeah, 2015, fun game, Nebraska and then Boise State, that whiteout, fun back-to-back wins there for BYU. And then I would say last year, Mitch, you mentioned the changes that have taken place with BYU football over the last 5 or so years. the third to fourth quarter transition, the fire knife dancers, all the elements. That game against Kansas State last year, the fact that BYU went into the half the way they did and then closed things out in the second half in the fourth quarter there against Kansas State, a ranked opponent last year, that wideout was really impressive. Super fun to be at in a crazy environment.
And they had the 1996 uniforms. Even though
Bring those back, Mitch.
Oh, I know.
Bring them back.
I was kind of sad that they didn't have that in the uniform identity this year.
I thought the uniforms were boring this year, Mitch.
No, I mean BYU's looks.
It's a clean look, but I like a little splash here and there.
I will say though, BYU sometimes less is more, where they've got very few jerseys and helmets, yet they've got a ton of options. They've kind of done these little tweaks. Like last week, they threw in the white face mask. I thought that looked great. That navy blue helmet. They were originally going to go navy blue face mask with the navy blue lid. They made that little.
Oh, you went down on the field, came back up to the press box, and you're like, "Hey,
I didn't go on the field. Let's clarify that." There.
You went down, not on the field. They're not playing. But I will say, Mitch,
don't want to get me tossed here, Kyle.
That's something that's a unique personality trait of you. You're like, oh, they changed the face mask.
Yes,
you've got an eye for these things.
Well, I see that face mask, and I instantly draw back to week 2 SMU, and I'm like, oh, that's a very Jake Retzloff looking lid. It's a navy blue helmet with a white face mask against SMU on the hilltop. It just registers some core memory. And then, meanwhile, my wife hears this and she's like, "What's the core memory when this day? What's your memory for that?" Well, you remember this helmet though.
Are you superstitious when it comes to these kind of special like uniforms and wideouts and whatnot? Because Nate pulls up this list and I'm looking at the wins versus losses here. It seems like the wideouts are actually a good environment for BYU to come out with a W in.
I used to be more superstitious. Now I'm not as much being in this job. But 2019 Washington, when they rolled out those awesome alternate block wide,
that was a great helmet. Great helmet.
Gosh, that looked so good. It was so crisp. And then I'm like, oh, special jerseys are kind of scary.
Do we just not bring that helmet back? Like that one is not. We can bring back the 96 one from those jerseys last year, but we will never see that helmet from 2019 again.
I'm having 2012 Oregon State blackout vibes when I get see a special uniform. But maybe last year against K-State killed that concerns. But yes, white out tonight. Wear your white to LaVell Edwards Stadium for a sold-out crowd between BYU and Stanford. We'll take a break. On the other side, we'll get to know the foe. We'll get to know a Stanford insider and get to know the Cardinal next here on Cougar Sports Saturday.
It's 1:30 at KSL News Radio. Good afternoon. I'm Adam Small to look at our top stories this hour. It's game day for BYU. They're getting ready to take on Stanford later tonight at LaVell Edwards Stadium. BYU head coach Kalani Sitake saying before the matchup,
"We know we're going to get their best shot. I say it every week. We just need to make sure that we give them our best shot too. But we have a lot of respect, and we know that they're in difficult situations, so we know that they're going to come ready to roll."
BYU looking to improve to 2-0 on the season, hopefully break into the AP Top 25 kickoffs at 8:15. You can catch all the action, including pregame, starting at 6 right here on KSL News Radio. It's also game day for both Utah and Utah State. Utah State today been battling with an SEC opponent in Texas A&M, ranked number 19 in the nation right now. Texas A&M just scored again. Now we're at the end of the third quarter, and Texas A&M starting to pull away, up 37-14 down there in Texas. And then at 4 o'clock, Utah will be kicking off against Cal Poly for their home opener of the season. At 4 o'clock, they're looking again to improve to 2-0 on the season and maintain their AP Top 25 status. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Protesters gathered this morning outside Great Lakes Naval Base north of Chicago, where ICE agents are being headquartered ahead of a deployment ordered by President Trump. Among those asking for ICE to leave Chicago are Adalia Underwood.
We're separating families. We're literally separating families. That's what we're doing. And I don't think that's fair. Everyone deserves a chance here. Everyone was given the chance, to make a living. I think everybody deserves that.
Protesters also gathered in Washington, D.C. today. Coming up, a look at the roads and your weekend weather forecast again next. KSL News Time coming up on 1:32.
The Salt Lake Chamber is Utah's voice for business. Okay, that sounds great, but what does it really mean? Well, as Utah's largest and longest standing business association, they support and champion community prosperity throughout the state. And if you're in business, well, that's a very good thing for you. Be sure to listen to the Chamber's Speaking on Business, weekdays at 7:20, 11:55, and 5:20 p.m. on KSL News Radio.
Don't let the wrong gear ruin your time in the field. Upgrade your arsenal with premium brands at great prices during the Shields Hunting Sale event now through September 14th. Score free tax stamps for suppressor purchases over $5.99 and save big on Sitka, Lucky Duck, Shields Outfitters, and shot shells from the top brands. Join the community of hunters who trust Shields experts to outfit their adventures and get more bang for your buck now through September 14th at Shields.
You know, in Box Elder County, they're all about the bucket list. Want to go birding at the premier birding destination in the western United States? Well, check off the Bear River Migratory Bird Refuge. How about land art? The spiral jetty and sun tunnels will leave you inspired. Or stand on the spot where the Union and Central Pacific Railroads joined and forged the destiny of a nation. Yep, Golden Spike National Historical Park is like no other place. Check. Splash, boat, camp, or fish your day away? Willard Bay State Park will guarantee a good time. Soak in a natural hot spring with the highest mineral content in the world? That would be Crystal Hot Springs. You'll feel rejuvenated. Eat at Utah's original steakhouse. Maddox Ranch House is perfection. Check. A 1920s diner. The Idle Owl Cafe will transport you back in time. As you empty your Box Elder County bucket list, you'll find a whole new set of adventures to fill it up again. Fill up your bucket list at visitboxeldercounty.com.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com/contests.
The Utah RV Super Show, the premier RV event of the year, is back at the Mountain America Expo Center Thursday, September 11th through Sunday, September 14th. Come see new 2026 models and special closeout pricing on all 2025 models. The Utah RV Super Show is offering family passes Thursday, September 11th for $10 per family. Unplug from distractions and plug into family at the Utah RV Super Show. Discount passes at utahRVSupershow.com.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Today, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Time for traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Still have a crash on 5300 South in Murray as you are westbound as you're approaching the I-15 ramps. That's still causing some backups down there, so try to avoid that one if you can. If you can find another ramp, it is really thick and slow through there. Also still seeing delays at the mouth of Ogden Canyon on SR 39 as crews are still working to repair a broken water line. You're seeing the bulk of the delays as you're heading into the canyon. Seeing a lot of stop and go, people really slugging their way through there, trying to get up the canyon, head up to Pine View Reservoir. Westbound also seeing some delays there. So again, try to avoid that. Use North Ogden Divide or another alternative if you can. Otherwise, no other accidents that we're seeing along the Wasatch Front that are causing problems. We are starting to see some slowdowns on southbound I-15 as you are approaching Riverdale Road. Just some slow and go delays up there. Also still seeing busy traffic up in Brigham City on 1100 South. and also on Brigham City's Main Street. Also seeing just patches of busy spots around the Wasatch Front, including Mountain View around 3500 South, SR 36 around Lake Point as you're merging onto eastbound I-80, and also just other scattered busy spots, including another one that's just popping up now, southbound I-15 as you are approaching 123rd South. Struggling with vision loss? Join the Utah State Library and Division of Services for Blind and Visually Impaired's open house October 22nd, 9 to 2. Call 801-715-6789. Look for a high of 83 degrees today in Salt Lake City. A slight chance of seeing thunderstorms or scattered rain. Right now, not really seeing a lot falling around the valleys right now. It's mostly staying to the mountains or elsewhere. Getting out to overnight lows in the mid-60s, a high of 87 tomorrow, 88 Monday. Gradually working our way down throughout the week. Temperature-wise, could be seeing highs only in the 70s by next weekend. Right now, 79 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Adam Small at KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
That's caught! Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary and gets in for 6.
Cougar Sports Saturday, a presentation of KSL Sports.
Richie right to the rim, driving score! He would not be denied!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Sponsored by Any Hour Services, electrical, plumbing, heating, and air. Your hosts are Mitch Harper and Kyle Ireland. On Utah's legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Wild game in Big 12 play right now. Baylor and SMU. I was kind of burying Baylor, saying they were left for dead.
Threw dirt on them already,
on the hilltop at SMU, but it's tied now, 38-38 with 9 seconds to go. There's some official review going on. We'll have to check in again, see how that game closes out. And again, Cougar Sports Saturday, sponsored by Any Hour Services, electric, plumbing, heating, and air. BYU's taking on an ACC team tonight, the Stanford Cardinal, and I got a chance to get to know the foe with a Stanford insider, Ben Parker of Cardinal Sports Report, part of the On3 Rivals Network, and this was my conversation with Ben. Ben, we followed each other for a long time on X, as we were discussed before we hopped on, but never had a formal interview conversation, so looking forward to getting to know Stanford with you.
Yeah, no, this is going to be great. It's always fun to kind of meet people, I guess, technically not face-to-face, but through Zoom. But yeah, it's great to meet new people and have new conversations, and yeah, I can't wait.
This Stanford Cardinal team, 0-1 after week 0, and they had a bye week. What was your assessment, Ben, of how things played out in Hawaii, and can this thing turn around at all under interim coach Frank Reich?
Yeah, the Hawaii game was terrible, particularly the quarterback position. The overall game itself, there was things they could take from it that were positive. Ford rushed for over 100 yards. He had his first career rushing touchdown. That was really good. Running back Cedric Irvin called tab. They did a good job. Offensive line looked improved. The defensive line actually did really well. Cole Patterson had a really good day, despite the fact that he kind of had a mistake with that TikTok dance that went viral and cost him 15 yards and a long TFL. But there were things that went well overall for the team. But it was just a stark reminder how important quarterback play is. And 6-year quarterback Ben Gulbranson had a disastrous day. Disastrous enough that a lot of fans are kind of wondering whether or not how long his leash is, or at what point they might switch to quarterback. So I think for Stanford, I think there were a lot of pauses they could take from the game, but they need the quarterback play to step up if they want to have an improved season. And then as far as the Frank Reich piece is, I mean, he's really close to Andrew Luck. He's got a lot of NFL experience. The team, I think, is hopeful that under his leadership for the season, that they can kind of get some of the bad taste out of their mouth from the 2 years they had under Troy Taylor and the end of the Shaw years, and kind of go into this next off season with a little bit of hope and optimism for a brighter future. So,
is there a chance, Ben, that there is a quarterback change at all this week in game potentially? I know that Gulbranson and Dr. Ben's listed atop the depth chart this week, but do you think there's a chance there could be a change potentially in game if it goes south again?
Yeah, it's possible. The Dr. Ben reference, for those that don't know, Go Branson's planning on going to medical school after, so after the season, so that's cool. But so that's where the Dr. Ben reference comes from. But no, listen, they're not gonna. I mean, I tried to get at this during Monday's conference with Reich. He didn't say. I perhaps could have been more direct in the questioning, but I don't think he'd have answered it anyway. That all was standing. I do think there's a possibility, because at the end of the day, they want to win games this year, and if your quarterback really plays bad for a second straight week, I don't know how it cannot be. So no, I think it's certainly possible, but I think their hope certainly, is that Gold Branson rights the ship. And if it were to make a change, I should add this: it would be Elijah Brown. He's in between the depth chart. That's the presumed, no, that's the presumed option that they would roll with.
With some of the struggles at quarterback, does it make it maybe difficult for Cardinal fans to see now on the opposite side is Bear Bachmeier, guy that was there for the spring quarter?
Yeah, no, certainly. Some of my subscribers have mentioned that if they were to lose to BYU on Saturday with Bear Bachmeier opposite, particularly if he played well, against them, yeah, that would certainly sting. Yeah, no question about it. I think the other thing is sort of like on the quarterback, this is my feeling, is if you're going to roll with a 6-year veteran guy, like he really better play well. Otherwise, you might as well at least go with a youth movement and develop somebody. So, but yeah, it would sting for sure for them if Bachmeier performed well against them.
This is hard to probably forecast because it's a hypothetical. But do you think Bear would have won that job had he stayed at Stanford?
No, and I don't know. I get the sense that the reason that Ben Goldbronson is the starter right now, I'll answer it in two ways. I think that if Bachmeier were still there, Goldbronson would probably still be the starter, just because I think the reason he won the job was because of his experience. He supposedly has done a good job of like leading the offense, showing command in the huddle, those kind of things, making all the appropriate checks and reads and stuff. I mean, it would make sense, right? He's a 6-year quarterback, so you would expect that guy to look better than a true freshman in those areas. But having said that, given the way he has struggled and the fact that there is a possibility for a change, is there a possibility that if Goldbranson were to continue to perform poorly and Bachmeier was still here, that he might be the backup and might be second in line to start? Absolutely, no question about it. So I think going into this week, I think that, Bachmeier would have likely been the backup, but might he have been the number 2 quarterback, or might he have been the guy who would he have gotten an opportunity this season to start? Very, very possible. Certainly.
Talk with Ben Parker of Cardinal Sports Report. You can see his bylines at Cardinal Sports Report, part of the On3 Rivals network. And I'm curious, Ben, will we see Scotty Edwards playing in action? He didn't play in that Hawaii game in week 0, and I bring him up because he's got local ties, Olympus High School, Salt Lake City. He spoke with the media this week, and he's on the depth chart. So are we going to see Scotty Edwards making that homecoming of sorts, going back to BYU?
Yeah, I think we should. First of all, shout out to Olympus High School. My buddy from my buddy Elliot Bullock played basketball there. He ended up playing at Stanford, and then my LDS mission trainer, actually, John Varner, shout out, Olympus High grad. So played football and basketball for them, was really good. So, but back to Edwards. Yeah, I mean, he should play. He spoke to the media yesterday, and my understanding was he was just held out of the Hawaii game kind of for precautionary reasons. So, yeah, he absolutely should be a go. It'd be very, very surprising if he weren't a go, particularly since he spoke to the media yesterday. They don't have guys speak to the media. I'm sure BYU is the same way. You don't have guys speak to the media that are iffy going into the game. So he should be fine.
Ben, you probably know this better than anyone that covers Stanford, but Stanford's had a lot of success recruiting LDS players and guys from the state of Utah over the years. Is that still going to be the trend, you think, going forward with Andrew Luck and his regime, or is it going to be just focusing more national and try to get guys wherever you can in this era of being in a national conference like Stanford's in the ACC?
Yeah, I think that they're gonna. I mean, I think first of all, for those that kind of don't understand kind of why the LDS thing kind of happened, well, it's kind of funny because I know that a few years back, uh, the Stanford men's basketball team was recruiting. I can't remember who was it. It's not important. There was one of this. He ended up going to Utah. I'm blanking on his name, but he ended up playing for Utah. Really good. He was a really good center from a couple years back, and they were trying to kind of sell on, hey, like, we've kind of had like LDS, success here. And for basketball, it's pretty much just been Mark Madsen and Nick Robinson, those two. That's kind of it. But for football, there's actually been, as you mentioned, a lot of LDS guys that have come through there. And the reason for that was because former defensive coordinator Lance Anderson, who's now the head coach at Utah Tech, um, is a member of the church, and so that really kind of helped them recruit guys. As far from the state of Utah and guys that are LDS, as far as whether or not that trend will continue, I do think that just Stanford's strong academic background, I think, and the location and weather and all those things, and also proximity to Utah, still make them a very attractive destination for LDS kids. A lot of kids that end up going to BYU are kids that take their academics really seriously and try to get good grades and are good kids and all that stuff, and kind of check off a lot of the boxes Stanford's looking for. And Stanford's one of the very few schools, if maybe the only school, that's had any success consistently getting kids out of Utah. So I think that trend will continue. The other thing I was going to mention too is that recruiting director Preston Pearson. I know that he has spent a lot of time in Utah. I believe he grew up there, so he's got ties there, and that's something that could help them. So yeah, I think that trend will continue. But certainly with the departure of Anderson now, a few years in the review mirror at least, it's fair to wonder how long they'll be able to, if they'll be able to keep it to the same level as was before. But no, I expect them to continue to keep the LDS pipeline coming.
I think that center you were talking about, Brandon Carlson, I believe.
Yes,
That's the name.
Yeah. Brandon Carlson. They took him on a tour of the institute, and they were kind of like, "Yo, we've had like LDS players here," and it was like, for basketball, it's just been Mark Madsen and Nick Robinson. But he's a really, really nice kid. His parents are really nice people, and so. But yeah, Brandon Carlson, that was the guy. Yeah.
A few more moments here with Ben Parker of Cardinal Sports Report on the field for the Stanford team heading into Saturday night. Ben, what is the strength position wise? You can focus on maybe the starters, but just the best positions on this team.
Yeah, right off the bat, running back. The running back unit is really, really deep. They have a really, really good running back room. Micah Ford, the lead back, is really good, powerful, physical runner. And the other two running backs that we saw against Hawaii, junior Cedric Irvin and sophomore Cole Tab, both looked really good. So I think running back's a major strength of theirs. I think tight end, in theory, ought to be good. Sam Roush is one of the stars of the team. Now, he had 3 receptions for 6 yards against Hawaii, so it was a bad outing for him, or like not a productive outing at all. But they're expecting him to be a major part of the team. He represented the team at ACC Media Day as a senior and all that. So, you got him and also some other also tight ends like Chico Holt, Benji Blackburn. So the tight end unit's strong. And then I think the linebacker unit as a whole is pretty good. They got some good outside edge rushers like Teva Tafiti, Wifreda Ibar. Inside linebacker group is solid. Guys like Zach Johnson and Bo Tate and Hunter Barth, these guys, and Josiah Galvin, these guys. So there's like, actually the defense has got a lot of pieces. Yeah. And then also secondary too. You mentioned Scotty Edwards, but safeties Jay Green and Mitch Lieber are really solid, are really good. And then cornerback Colin Wright, who's kind of the other kind of major star of this team. If you're playing with Stanford on the NCAA video game, he might be your highest rated player, Colin Wright, and he was out for the Hawaii game. He'll be back. So yeah, those are kind of the main groups there, I think.
And then on the flip side, maybe the positions that are the weakest right now heading into week 2.
Yeah, quarterback, obviously, that's a big question mark. The other position group too that I think is a little dodgy question marky is the if that's a word, question marky, the wide receiver unit. So CJ Williams is a transfer from Wisconsin, came in with a lot of hype. He was a big time recruit out of high school, out of modern day high school. But they didn't do a whole enough. Part of it was quarterback play, but also like they could have done better to get themselves open. So wide receiver group, I don't want to say they're a weak spot, but they're kind of more of a mysterious group. You just don't know what you got yet in those guys. CJ Williams, Caden High, CJ Williams, a transfer from Wisconsin, and then Caden High, transfer from South Carolina State. So guys that are eager to prove themselves, but really show them what they can do as a unit. So wide receiver unit, I wouldn't necessarily say is a weak spot, but it's certainly a question mark.
That's Ben Parker, Stanford insider, here on Cougar Sports Saturday. Let's take a break. On the other side, we'll get some Cougar Tales next here on KSL
So my
News
mother
Radio.
is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Mom, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotion. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. Consequently, they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Dial pound 250 and say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, everything you need and nothing you don't.
September means it's time for Any Hour Services free furnace sale. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and as summer comes to a close and falls right around the corner, the weather gets, well, perfect. And when the weather's perfect, people need a little extra incentive to replace their heating and cooling system. That's where Any Hour Services free furnace sale comes in. For the month of September, when you have Any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it. About $400. The furnace is free, you just pay the labor. And there's no catch. There's no raising the price on the air conditioner first. There's no making you buy the most expensive air conditioner to qualify. There's none of that. There's just a desire to keep our technicians working while the weather's mild and a genuine appreciation of you for helping us keep them busy. So if you've been thinking about replacing your old furnace and air conditioner and want to know exactly how much you can save during our free furnace sale, call Any Hour Services today and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Hi, this is Doug Ryden. For years, I've been telling you about products I truly believe in and that we use in our home. And one is Kinetico. We all know the downsides of hard water, tough on home appliances, frustrating spots on shower doors, but it also affects your personality. When you shower, does the water feel invigorating? Hard water can leave your skin feeling sticky and itchy. A Kinetico soft water system changes everything. It's like having a luxurious spa experience when you shower, making your daily routine something you look forward to. Kinetico, it's a difference you can feel. Their patented system uses far less salt than competitors, and they're exclusively focused on water softeners. They're the experts in their field, and they'll show you the difference for free with no obligation to buy. Call Kinetico Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer, at 801-576-8600, or check them out online at softwaterutah.com. Start enjoying your water. Spoil yourself every day.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV, RV wins.
What, are you going to take the RV to the lake or clean out your closet? RV wins! Putting the dishes away or taking the RV camping? RV wins! Cleaning the fridge or taking a trip to the beach? RV wins!
You might want to clean the fridge real quick because, mold.
We clean out the fridge, then take the RV out.
With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states and situations.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Cougar Sports Saturday, Kyle Ireland, Mitch Harper. My gosh, Mitch, you were wrong about this Baylor-SMU game. It's going into double overtime, tie game, 45-45. This is not what we saw 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, crazy game, crazy turn of events. And you know what's even bigger, crazy turn of events here locally? Let's get some Cougar Tales here. We bring in our producer, Nate Slack. Nate, I know you love this. And I love this too. Tell the people if they missed the news, what's going on down in Springville that ties back to BYU in the story?
It's Buc-ee's.
We going to Buc-ee's?
Buc-ee's is like the ultimate gas station based out of Texas, and they're going to be building one in Springville. Now, this was teased a little while ago that they could be building one, I think it's Spanish Fork.
Yes.
But
just the wrong SP.
Springville.
This show's getting off the rails. We're talking Buc-ee's.
Hey, there's a tie here because the Big 12 is labeled as the truck stop conference, and Buc-ee's is synonymous with Texas. It begs the question, Nate, go ahead.
Does this cement BYU as a Big 12 team?
Yes, it does. In fact, I looked this up, ChatGPT, so blame the robots and AI on this. BYU would be the closest stadium to a Buc-ee's, 5.8 miles to that proposed location in Springville. So I'm hyped. Look, those post-practice sessions, I'm going another 6 miles south. I'm getting me a Buc-ee's pulled pork sandwich. Maybe that cheesesteak burrito. Those things are fantastic. Some Buc-ee's nuggets. Man.
Your wife's going to be like, where is Mitch? Why isn't he home from practice?
I'm going to Buc-ee's.
Why isn't he home from the game?
I'm going to Buc-ee's. That TikTok sound, I love that.
I respect it. Next up, we got Oregon State game in 2028. That was canceled a couple weeks ago. It's going to be played in Corvallis. Recently announced this past week that it's going to be played in Las Vegas in Allegiant Stadium. I like the move, though. I think it's a good move to go from Corvallis to Las Vegas for this game.
Yeah, I like it, too, because BYU fans will overwhelm Oregon State, and it'll be a home game. And if you can get to maybe 6 or 7 home games at LES, maybe you're talking, in essence, an 8 home game schedule. So I am okay with that move. Let's get to a break, though. We're up against it. So good stuff, Nate. Hour number 3 coming up next here on Cougar Sports Saturday.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. Anger in the streets against President Trump's actions of surging federal officers or troops into U.S. cities. At least several hundred of these demonstrators in Washington call for withdrawing National Guard troops, which the president says have cut crime in Washington.
We built this city brick by brick, block by block, blood, sweat, and tears.
Also protests in Chicago against a surge in federal officers, including immigration police, ahead of expected raids. David Hernandez says he lives within 5 miles of the naval base where immigration agents are thought to be basing. He's worried for his parents who came to the U.S. several years ago.
Everyone feels afraid, but at the same time, they also feel powerful and want to fight back against this force that wants to separate us from their family.
El Grito, Chicago, the city's multi-day festival celebrating Mexico's independence, has been postponed. Strong to severe thunderstorms sweeping across parts of the Northeast, affecting up to 25 million people. A severe thunderstorm watch goes from Maryland to Maine until 8 p.m. local time. Dealing with poor air quality because of persistent wildfire smoke are millions more from the Pacific Northwest through the Rockies. Near a wildfire near Fontana, California, that's forcing evacuations. This person living in the area is hopeful.
One thing that we're blessed here in this neighborhood is that we're close to a lot of fire apparatus and small airports where they fly out of. So they're normally on it right away.
Tonight's Powerball jackpot is at least $1.8 billion, the second largest in U.S. lottery history. Odds of winning it all, about 1 in 300 million, according to the experts. You're listening to ABC News.
Jim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. I want to tell you about our famous "You Don't Need a Warranty" warranty. That's right, it's a warranty you don't need, but we give it to you anyway. Let me explain. Most warranty problems for siding, gutters, and windows are caused by not installing stuff right in the first place. If you rush the work, cut corners, or use subpar materials, you're just begging for problems later. At RGS Exteriors, we don't tolerate careless workmanship. We slow down, focus on every detail, and use only the best materials. We prevent warranty work by doing the job right in the first place. That's why the 10-year everything guarantee we give you is also known as our "You Don't Need a Warranty" warranty. We absolutely will be there if you need to use it. But honestly, you probably will never have to. Done right the first time. That's the RGS way. For siding, gutters, and windows, call 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsexteriors.com.
The power of we believes in you. It advocates for you. It completes your circle. It makes sure you have the strongest circle possible. And with Intermountain Health in yours, you'll always have the care you need to live the healthiest life possible. That's the power of we. Intermountain Health.
For nearly 70 years, Les Olson IT has been the trusted name for businesses. From state-of-the-art printers and copiers to managed IT services, we have the solutions you need to stay ahead in today's world. And now Les Olson IT is trusted and licensed in Utah for security systems, for technology that helps you work smarter. Les Olson IT, providing solutions that empower your business.
Les Olson IT.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
When you need the financial products and services for every stage of life, Cypress Credit Union is there for whatever the future holds. Visit cypresscu.com today.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
That's caught! Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary and gets in for 6.
Cougar Sports Saturday, a presentation of KSL Sports.
Richie right to the rim, driving score! He would not be denied!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Sponsored by Any Hour Services, electrical, plumbing, heating, and air. Your hosts are Mitch Harper and Kyle Ireland. On Utah's legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Big 12 football, Mitch.
A different league.
My heavens, what a game there in Dallas. SMU falls in a double overtime thriller to Baylor. Baylor coming back from down 2 touchdowns. Wow. This is not what we saw an hour ago there in Dallas. What a win for the conference and what a win for Baylor.
Yeah, Baylor gets it done 48-45 against SMU from the ACC. Big win. Yeah, those type of moments are huge for the league. You got to have those moments. I know BYU doesn't play Baylor this year, but it's important in these non-conference games to win those games, and those take on significance. And you got to get those victories when you can. So. Big win for Baylor, big win for the Big 12 to take down a nationally ranked SMU in Dallas. BYU knows all too well how difficult SMU can be on the hilltops. That's a big win for Baylor.
Another ACC matchup for the Big 12 tonight is BYU playing Stanford at 8:15. You can hear that game on KSL News Radio. And to get ready for that, I had the chance to talk with BYU defensive back Raider DeMooney, another guy who was recruited by Stanford, and this is my conversation with Raider earlier this week. Raider, you guys put a beating down on Portland State on Saturday, 69-0. I saw you flying all over the field. It seemed like you were just attacking the ball, maybe unlike I've ever seen you play during your time at BYU. Was that a mentality, a specific thing you were trying to do going into that game?
Yeah, for sure. I think, the first game of the season, it's my third year in the system now, and so it's time to let it go, time to let it rip. And so I think that's the mentality for every game for all of us that play on the defense. Fly to the ball, run to the ball, and make some plays.
You've got a pretty extensive talent group there on the defense this season. Bunch of guys made plays on Saturday, and then even went into the backups, second, third, fourth string in the second half. But could you specifically talk about the guys that you're running out there with, Falatau Satuala and Tanner Wall, and what you guys can do as a trio?
Yeah, it's great playing with them. We can do a lot as a safety group, including Talon Alfrey as well, as four. Any of us, I've mentioned this before in previous interviews, but a lot of us, we can play any position from free to strong, which helps us disguise more, helps us give different looks to different offenses. And so it's great. We study together, we learn together, we work hard together. And so just putting it all together on the field, we're excited to play with each other and continue to keep rolling.
Looking ahead to this weekend's game, you've got a jump up in competition, obviously going from FCS to FBS, but playing another power program in Stanford. You were recruited by Stanford. What are your recollections of that recruiting process, what you went through with Stanford, and kind of the decision that separated BYU from Stanford?
Yeah, Stanford was actually really high on my list when I was making that decision. It came down to BYU, Utah, and Stanford. And so I know a lot about that university, the culture there. And so it's a great university. They have a good historic program of winning. They have a winning culture there. And then even though they lost their first game, they're going to bring a physicality to the game, a tough mindset. And so that's something that we're looking forward to playing against. But then just going back to your question of why BYU is, man, I always dreamed of being here. I love BYU. I love being at home here in Provo and playing for the hometown team. And so that's played a key role in my recruitment.
Stanford's interim head coach Frank Reich talked about BYU and the matchup and whatnot on Monday, but he also looked back at their game over a week ago in Hawaii, and he said that one of the things that he liked about their team from that loss was the way they were able to run the ball and the way they were able to protect the football. Are those things that you've noticed looking at the Stanford film from that game?
Oh, absolutely. They're a team that want to get downhill and run the ball. And if they can keep running the ball, then they're just going to keep smacking you in the mouth. And so it's definitely something that us as a defense, we're preparing for. And we're excited for the challenge. They're a physical group. They have a good O-line. They have great running backs. And so their receivers block well. And that's kind of their culture that I feel like they've set over there, is to be physical and be tough guys. And so we're going to have to come in and match that energy as well.
You've got 2 more non-conference games before you get into Big 12 play, but what are some of the goals that you've set as a defense this season, and maybe some personal goals as well?
As a defense, we want to be the best defense in not only the Big 12 but in the country. I know we led the nation in interceptions last year. We want more. Everything. From fumbles, from turnovers. We just want more sacks, and so that's something as a goal. And then obviously for myself, individual goals. I just want to be able to do my job 100% every single game. And I know if I do those things, big plays will come my way. And so, yeah, just be clean.
Looking back at that Portland State game again, your cousin got some good running time there out of the backfield in the second half. What did you think of Javesa's effort and what you saw from the sidelines of him playing?
Man, none of us are surprised, actually. Like, if you've watched Javesa during fall camp, everyone knows that he had a great fall camp. And we know what he's capable of doing. He's fast, explosive, quick. And so seeing him be able, he's my cousin, my first cousin, seeing another family member be able to go out in Lavelle Edwards Stadium and put on a show like he did, I was so happy for him, and it was a blessing to see that.
After the long off season, what was it like coming into Lavelle Edwards Stadium, running through the tunnel, night game, you're seeing the lights, all those things, and a big crowd, the biggest that has been at Lavelle Edwards Stadium since 2009. What was that experience like for you?
Man, every time I go back in Lavelle Stadium, it gives me the chills, man. You know, we have fans that packed out the stadium for this Portland State game. You look in the fourth quarter, we were up 62-0 or whatever, and, you know, fans were still there. No one left, and it just goes to show the commitment and the support that we have from those fans, and we love them. And, man, there's no better place to play. I've played in a lot of stadiums up until this point. Love being at home, love being in Lavelle and playing for our fans. And so it was a great experience.
Last thing for you, Raider, and appreciate your time. What can you really learn? And I guess, you know, it's kind of a cliche thing, but it seems like a lot of coaches really have this like saying of there's a lot of improvement that you can see of a team from week 1 to week 2. How much do you think that is applicable to you guys and then also Stanford based off of their first game?
Yeah, I think you're always looking to improve, especially as a defense. You know, we shut them out. We had a good game, but what more can we do? And I think that's something that we're thinking about every single day. We have goals that we've set for this game, and coming out here and practicing the best that we can. You know, when we do those things and we practice hard and we get the good looks that we're supposed to get, we know that we're going to improve from week to week. And so it's all effort. If we do our job, we'll be all right.
Thanks, Raider.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's BYU safety, Raider Mooney. Good stuff, Kyle, with Raider Mooney, junior safety, having a strong start to his season like many on this BYU football team. Cougs and Cardinal going to kick it off tonight at 8:15. We're about 6 hours away until kick. Let's take a quick timeout, and then on the other side, we'll get to some more sound and breakdown of BYU and Stanford next here on Cougar Sports Saturday.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you have a drain that's clogged or backed up, after you've tried the plungers and products, the next step usually involves some kind of drain snake or cabling equipment. You see, sometimes the blockage is far enough down the line that you need special equipment that most homeowners just don't have. That's where the Drains Department at Any Hour Services can help. A drain snake can clear most blockages and get the water flowing again, and clearing blocked drains is what our Drains Department does day in and day out. So if you're a homeowner with a drain line that's clogged or backed up and you'd like one of our drain technicians to come and snake the line for you, it's only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
I am not a rich woman, but I feel like a rich woman every time I go in my closet. The best, hands down, present I've ever received was my husband secretly redid my closet with Closets by Design. So now when I go in there aren't all these shoes just junked on the floor. They're neatly sitting on their shelves. And my necklaces are hanging on their individual hooks, and earrings are in their little squares in this soft drawer that pulls out. It's just gorgeous. In fact, he saw how much I loved it. He had Closets by Design redo the garage. So now all the stuff, the tools, the toys, the junk is all in cabinets. When you open our garage door, you see cars. That's it. It's amazing. The things that Closets by Design can do, and it's going to save you money right now because you get up to 40% off plus an additional 15% off with 18-month financing. You can do so much with your closet, much more than you realize, with this wonderful Utah company, Closets by Design. Find out more at 1-800-BY-DESIGN or closetsbydesign.com.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with a Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the final days of Sleep Number's biggest sale of the year. All beds on sale. Up to 50% off the limited edition smart bed. Ends Monday. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
This summer, your carpets saw it all. Dirt, dust, even pet mess. This autumn, it's time to fall back in love with your home with Zero Res carpet and air duct cleaning. Zero Res uses patented ZR water technology to clean the right way with no harsh chemicals or sticky residues. That means carpets stay cleaner longer, dry in just hours, and are safe for kids and pets. Plus, Zero Res backs it up with their Gotta Love It guarantee. If you're not happy, they'll re-clean it free within 30 days. And right now, get the carpet of any room cleaned for just $43 and take 15% off air duct cleaning services when you mention KSL. Fall back in love with your carpets today. Schedule online at zerores.com. Spelled the same forward or backward. Zero Res is the right way to clean.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money. But do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At Capital Wealth Advisors, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the Capital Wealth Advisors team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 801-210-5500. That's 801-210-5500. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. Capital Wealth Advisors, 801-210-5500. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor. Firm may not give tax advice.
Welcome back into Cougar Sports Saturday here on KSL News Radio. It's BYU football game day. Mitch Harper and Kyle Ireland with you. Take you all the way up to 3 o'clock, and then we'll get pregame started, extended pregame at 6 o'clock for the Cougs and the Cardinal. And one of the top guys on BYU's defensive line this season is outside edge rusher Logan Latui, a senior defensive end who had a really impactful game in week one, and he looks to build on that here tonight against Stanford. Here's my conversation with Logan Latui here on KSL. Logan, initial thoughts first off on the Stanford Cardinal offense and maybe the challenges that they pose going up against Cardinal.
Yeah, looking at their offense this past weekend and today, we know that we're going to be in for a dogfight. They are physical up front. They want to establish their physicality right off the bat, so we're looking forward to that. We have prided ourselves in stopping the run this season, so we're going to be up to the test this season, this game and this week. So that's what we've noticed first and foremost right off the bat when we watch film is they want to get their run game going and they want to get turn it into a battle.
The physicality, though, that kind of feels like you like that. You guys kind of like that game too. I mean, you guys are a physical defense. That was one of the, as Jay Hill noted, one of the cleanest first games that he's ever been a part of. Physicality, you guys embrace that, I assume.
Yeah, we love the game of, I'll just put it here. The first thing that we look for is stopping the run, and that's being physical up front, dominating your one-on-ones, and that's something that's instilled to us each and every day, especially on these Tuesdays, full padded practices. It's as close to live as you'll get during the week before Saturday. So, yeah, we embrace the physicality, and we love it when they turn into a dogfight.
Tuesdays, you guys go full pads. Do you go any other days with full pads?
No, just Tuesdays. Tuesdays is our full padded days, and we call them our bloody Tuesdays. Yeah.
How would you assess what today was like then?
Today was a great bloody Tuesday. The boys were flying around. There was a lot of hitting today, so everybody was up to par with what we wanted. And yeah, there were some mistakes, but we expect that on the first day of the week. Looking for tomorrow to clean it up, and as we continue throughout the week to Saturday to polish up our game plan and our technique for this week.
2 tackles and 1 tackle for loss for you in that win over Portland State. I know individual stats aren't probably the key thing for you, but just individually for yourself, how did you feel? Areas that you want to improve? I don't even know if that's something to even ask after a game where there's not much to nitpick, but what are the coaches telling you guys?
They want us to double down on our technique. I think that's what's going to set us apart as we continue on with this season and play better and better opponents, and I think that's what's going to keep us seeing the success that we want to see is doubling down on our technique, making sure we're playing with the right fundamentals, and that's something that I want to continue to look to hone down on. So yeah.
Senior season for you. How are you kind of enjoying maybe this final ride that back in the winter, I don't know did you expect to have this other opportunity in 2025?
Yeah, I'm excited for this season. It's been fun throughout this off season, and to get back in Lavelle Edwards Stadium this past weekend, and like that feeling is always it's always insane anytime you walk in there on a Saturday night with the fan base that we have. So it's something that never gets old, and that I'm going to miss when I'm done playing here, but I'm going to enjoy the rest of the season though.
Why the number changed to 7?
There actually isn't really much reason. I just was talking with the equipment manager, and he was telling me some open numbers. I'm like, yeah, I'll go with a single digit this year, and this was open, so I just took it.
Oh yeah, I mean for an outside edge, but we're in a single digit. That's pretty crisp. That looks really good.
Yeah, hopefully it makes me look slimmer out there.
Well, Logan, how do you feel like the defensive line after that first game performed? I mean, you saw Brody Schoonover, Viliami Puha, Keanu Tanavasa, JT. I mean, it was really productive by you guys, along with doubling down on technique. What else can this defensive line show this year?
I think that one was just a good confidence builder because, like you said, Bodie and Vil, they haven't had too many reps this past season, so that was just showing them that we can play. They can play on Saturday nights and be really successful and dominant. And no matter the opponent, the way that we played on Saturday is something that you could be proud of. And as we get into this next week, where we're playing an offense that wants to be physical, it's going to be a good test for us. And I don't think anybody's shying away from that, and we're all looking forward to it.
What can you tell us about your cousin, Ephraim Asiata? He switched over to Sam linebacker. Just maybe how he is as a player. I mean, we saw a glimpse. I mean, he plays with so much violence out there on the field, but what he can become now that he's over that Sam linebacker spot.
Yeah, more than just violent. I know Ephraim is one of the smarter players we have on our defense. He's able to grasp concepts pretty easily, and when he gets on the field, he just flips the switch. He just gets that killer mentality, and that's something that you want in all football players. And he's somebody that we know that we can count on to, get the juice going. He's going to be physical every play, and he's just going to be making a lot of plays this season and in his future.
Is there much difference between the Sam and the OE, your spot? And I bring that up because Ephraim kind of switched between those spots.
Mm-hmm. Sam is a lot more of a linebacker position. With the OE, it's a little bit of a hybrid, but more of a defensive end position. So we're on the line more often, not dropping back as much as the Sam. And the Sam linebackers are a little bit quicker and lighter than us, so they play to the field side where they could cover more ground than we would probably not want to be in the position to do. So yeah.
And then last couple things here for you, Logan. Stanford, you brought up the physicality. They like to eat up the clock too. They had some drives, 3 drives last 2 weeks ago against Hawaii where they had more than 10 plays. The importance of getting off on third down.
Yeah, like I said before, the importance of getting on third down starts off with that first and second down. And that starts with stopping the run, keeping them away from those sticks, and forcing them to those third and longs that they're going to have to pass the ball. And that's when we're going to be able to just get off the quarterback, send the packages that we have that will confuse the quarterbacks, and that's what we want on those third downs. And as long as we keep them out of those third and shorts where they aren't just running the ball and chewing up the clock, I think we'll be in a good position.
Last thing, what's your routine for these late night kicks? What do you do at the team hotel?
Yeah, that's a good one. I usually just be watching football, all the games. We kind of have already a set routine for us where they wake us up, we do some things, and when it starts at 8 o'clock, we come back to the facility and do our walkthroughs here and go back to the hotel. But most of the time, we're just hanging around with our teammates. Just take a nap, talk to family, and then when it gets closer, we just start to dial in and focus up to game day or game time.
Well, Logan, great start to the season. Looking forward to more in your senior campaign, and best of luck this week.
Thank you so much.
That's Logan Latui, outside edge rusher for BYU. Senior season. Medical redshirt. Gave him a chance to play an extra season here at BYU. It's pretty cool. He goes around the stadium with his son. They do the high fives with the fans, and he's with his little boy. And pretty cool stuff seeing Logan Latui take off and become an impactful player along this BYU defensive front. I mean, he's been in Jay Hill's defense for years, dating back to his time at Weber State before he transferred over to BYU. But it's the Cougs and the Cardinal tonight, 8:15 kick here on KSL News Radio. And, as you look at this matchup a little bit further, Kyle, BYU comes into the game, and I think that they're clearly the better football team, and it's trending up. Even the line has improved to where BYU is a 20.5-point favorite. But, Frank Reich and Stanford, they're looking to, make a splash and have a successful season. This was interim coach Frank Reich on Stanford's strengths and weaknesses, or strengths on offense and defense as a team.
I think on offense, obviously, we ran the football well. I think we need to be better there, and I think we will be. I think we left some yards on the field. And I thought we did a good job of protecting the football. We had the one turnover, but overall, I thought the ball security was good. Obviously, we have to make a whole lot of improvement on the pass game, but I think up front, running the football, blocking, I think there were some good signs. And then defensively, I was really encouraged with how we played the pass. We knew Hawaii was a pass-first team, and you just don't really know until you get in a game. And I was really happy with how our, even though we were banged up in the secondary, I was really happy with how we played coverage. And then we still had 4 sacks, and they're a team that gets the ball out quick. They were a team that got the ball out quick. We were still able to get 4 sacks, still able to hold them to 5 yards an attempt, 5+ yards, 5 point something an attempt. So I think that was the strength in week 1.
Yeah, and one of those strengths was Micah Ford, who carried the ball 26 times for 113 yards and a score against Hawaii in their opener in week 0. But a week off for the Cardinal coming into Provo, Mitch. And, you've got this BYU squad who he clearly has a lot of respect for, and even called them an NFL-like defense.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I have not looked as much at their offense, more when I was just watching the game live because of when it was on and we were able to watch it live. But, obviously as an offensive coach, I've been focused more on their defense. But no, they're going to obviously a dynamic run game. And like you said, with the quarterback being involved in the run game and the play pass and getting him on the move, he's a good athlete. So you're going to get him on the move and got a lot of stuff, a lot of action going on. So certainly respect. Really, this is a very well-coached team. You can see that. They're a good football team. Their schemes are very sound. Defensively, I feel like I'm watching an NFL defense with everything they do. I mean, they do a little bit of everything. They're multiple in every way. Their pressure package is quite sophisticated, a lot of stuff you see at the NFL level, and they do a good job of executing it.
Stanford interim coach Frank Reich, that's kind of a nice tip of the cap to Jay Hill to say that when he watches BYU, it's NFL-like. Now maybe he's just buttering BYU up. The opponent's just saying, oh, man, they're so amazing. They look so good. And behind the scenes, it's like, they're not good. We're going to terrorize them. I don't think that. I mean, BYU really is a good defense. They are. But sometimes you always got to look at these quotes from coaches and say, like, oh, yeah, like, my gosh, they're the greatest defense I've ever seen on film. Like sometimes just hyping up the opponent, making them feel good. But behind closed doors, they're going to try to find ways.
Well, you think
to
about
attack.
it, Mitch. This is a guy who played quarterback in the NFL, was a 2-time head coach, and was an offensive coordinator in the Super Bowl. So really impressive stuff. We're up against it. We're going to take a quick timeout. On the other side, we'll do 3 and Out on Cougar Sports Saturday.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. Protests today against President Trump's actions of surging federal officers or troops into U.S. cities. At least several hundred of these demonstrators in Washington demand removal of National Guard troops, which the president credits with cutting crime in Washington.
It's almost like a war state. Like, what's going on? Why is this being allowed to happen?
Also protests in Chicago. Surge of immigration raids are expected, including immigration police ahead of expected raids.
Devastating. It's heartbreaking. I mean, just look around.
we're not all bad people. Everybody's not a bad person.
Potentially violent storms are possible for the millions living from Maryland to Maine now into early evening, forecasters say. Tonight's Powerball jackpot is at least $1.8 billion, the second largest in U.S. lottery history. This is ABC News.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Today, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Vanity Fair calls BritBox a delicious streamer. Collider says everyone should be watching. Catch Britain's next best series with BritBox. Stream acclaimed new originals like Code of Silence.
You read lips, right?
And Linley, based on the best-selling mystery series.
Say hi, Linley. Take it from here.
And don't miss the new season of Karen Piri, coming this October.
You don't look like police. I'll take that as a compliment.
See it differently when you stream the best of British TV with BritBox. Watch with a free trial today.
Some things can steal your sunshine.
Ugh, I just got my hair done. Sorry, the cooler's broken.
Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Shop with any Mountain America credit or debit card for a chance to win a $5,000 vacation voucher. Simply tap, insert, swipe, or click to be entered to win now until October 31st. Use any card, win any trip from Mountain America Credit Union. Visit macu.com/anycard for official rules or to apply. Loans on approved credit. Membership required based on eligibility. Insured by NCUA. Limited time offer. Offer can change or be withdrawn at any time.
September means it's time for Any Hour Services free furnace sale. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and as summer comes to a close and falls right around the corner, the weather gets, well, perfect. And when the weather's perfect, people need a little extra incentive to replace their heating and cooling system. That's where Any Hour Services free furnace sale comes in. For the month of September, when you have Any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it. About $400. The furnace is free, you just pay the labor. And there's no catch. There's no raising the price on the air conditioner first. There's no making you buy the most expensive air conditioner to qualify. There's none of that. There's just a desire to keep our technicians working while the weather's mild and a genuine appreciation of you for helping us keep them busy. So if you've been thinking about replacing your old furnace and air conditioner and want to know exactly how much you can save during our free furnace sale, call Any Hour Services today and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Your fall one-tank trip starts in Cedar City, Parowan, and Bryan Head. Scenic byways and highways, live theater, mountain biking, food, and downtown. Visit cedarcity.com.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
That's caught! Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary and gets in for 6.
Cougar Sports Saturday, a presentation of KSL Sports.
Richie right to the rim, driving score! He would not be denied!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Sponsored by Any Hour Services, electrical, plumbing, heating, and air. Your hosts are Mitch Harper and Kyle Ireland. On Utah's legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Cougar Sports Saturday, sponsored by Any Hour Services, electric, plumbing, heating, and air. Mitch Harper, Kyle Ireland with you. Also joining us in studio is our producer, Nate Slack. And every Saturday on a game day, we always roll out this segment on the show to bring in our producer, Nate Slack, and dive in deeper to today's matchup.
3 and Out. A quick hit look at BYU's next opponent on the gridiron. It's 3 and Out on Cougar Sports Saturday.
That's right, 3 and Out. We're going to go deep dive into BYU versus Stanford. Again, kickoff tonight at 8:15 p.m. Make sure to wear white. It's a whiteout tonight for the Cougs and the Cardinals. It's going to be a good game for BYU. I think, BYU is a huge favorite in this one, but BYU got to go execute and go get that second victory on the season. And like any drive, we're going to start it off with
First Down.
Kyle here on First Down. We go with a stat to watch in the matchup. What's the stat you're keeping an eye on in this game?
Well, I like the throwback, Mitch. I'm going to go back. We're going to look at two guys from this year's roster who played in the 2022 game. Can you believe that? There's only two guys that recorded stats last time these two teams met up. That is Talon Alfrey, who had 3 tackles against Stanford in 2022 on the farm, and Chase Roberts. He had 1 carry for 5 yards.
Like that. Crazy how very little continuity there is between
such different teams.
3 years. Now, you think 3 years, there'd maybe be 5 to 6 guys that would be still on the team. That's just not the case in today's college football with the roster changing as much as it does. For me, it's the number 57%. That was BYU's success rate on first down, and success rate is where you're gaining at least half the yardage needed towards a first down. So if it's 1st and 10, you're gaining at least 5 yards a pop to get to that stick. So on 57% of their first downs, BYU was getting a nice yardage. And I think that's noteworthy because you do not want to put Bear Bachmeier, a true freshman, behind the sticks. Don't let him operate in 2nd and 11, 2nd and 12, 3rd and 8. Put him in 2nd and manageable. Then that playbook opens up, and then BYU can start digging in to those specials that Aaron Roderick and this coaching staff love to call that really change the momentum of a game. So success rate, BYU was really good last week on first down, and coincidentally, that's why I bring it up here in this portion of 3 and Out, but they got to continue that this week here against Stanford. For you, Nate, what's the stat that you're keeping an eye on?
So it was the number 36, and that's the number of minutes that Stanford held on to the ball against Hawaii. And I say that because I think that's the only way that Stanford could actually keep this a game is if they can muddy it up. Maybe a game similar to the SMU-BYU game last year where BYU wins 18-15. If it's a high-scoring game, I don't see how Stanford scores many points, but I think even if BYU scores a couple touchdowns, it's probably out of reach for Stanford. So I think Stanford's going to try to take possession of the ball, run it with success if they can, but I don't think against BYU's defense they're going to find much success.
Second down.
All right, second down, players to watch. Kyle, who are you keeping an eye on?
For Stanford, Micah Ford, going off of Nate's point, being able to run the ball is going to be what Stanford hangs their hat on today. In their opener against Hawaii, he ran the ball for 4.3 yards per carry. If he's able to do the same thing against BYU, Mitch, BYU could be in trouble because they need to be able to stop the run. That's really what Stanford has the ability to win this game with, is being able to have an effective ground game.
And for BYU, who's the guy you're watching on BYU?
I'm going to go with Che Bryant-Strother.
Ooh, I like that.
I think that Che really had a nice performance in BYU's opener. He had a sack, and I think that to go along with the 2 tackles that he had, he's going to follow up that against Stanford. I expect another sack, and I also think that he's going to have a turnover, either forcing a fumble or getting an interception. CBS is my pick for BYU.
I like that one. For me, the players to watch on the Stanford side, it's their tight end, 6'5", 260-pound Sam Roush. Really good tight end. This is a passing attack that doesn't pose many threats. They've got a good receiver, too, in C.J. Williams, former 4-star recruit. But Roush is probably their most talented guy, maybe an NFL talent at that tight end position. So keep an eye out for him. And then I'm going to go with a little bit deeper cut, but he's a starter, cornerback Evan Johnson, Schmeeve. Just something tells me that he's going to get an interception this week. I think Evan Johnson's going to make a big play, really climb the ladder in fall camp and establish himself as a starting cornerback for BYU. So give me Evan Johnson as the player to watch for BYU. What about for you, Nate? Who are the guys on both Stanford and BYU that you're watching in this matchup?
Yeah, for Stanford, it's kind of boring. I'm going to be sticking with their quarterback, Ben Gulbranson. He had a terrible game against Hawaii, 15 of 30 passing for 109 yards and 1 interception. And I say him because I think Stanford's going to lean on the run, but I think BYU's defensive line and linebacker unit, they're going to shut down the run, so I think they're going to have to rely on his arm a little bit, especially if BYU can start out fast and get up a couple scores. Stanford's not going to be able to run the ball like they want to because they'll have to kind of push the limits and throw the ball downfield. And then for BYU, I'm looking at Keanu Tanuvasa, and he had a really good game against Portland State, but it was kind of overshadowed by John Tamoipeau. I want to see Keanu Tanuvasa live up to the expectations that were kind of put on him over the offseason. You have Jay Hill saying he could be the best defensive tackle in the entire country. And I believe that, but I kind of want to see it. So I want him to especially step up against a team that's going to try to run the ball as much as Stanford's going to. He's my player to watch today.
I love that pick. I think Keanu's going to be awesome in this game. And that would show well because, again, Stanford's got some talent, particularly in the interior of their offensive line. I think that's a good pick, going with Keanu Tanuvasa.
Third down.
So here in third down, we give some bold predictions. BYU and Stanford, how bold will we go? Kyle, what's your bold prediction?
Well, we all picked defensive players to watch for BYU, Mitch. So I'm going to lean on BYU's defense to win this game because they're going to force 5 turnovers. Yeah, wow. 5 turnovers, Mitch. I think that I'm going to go with 2 interceptions and 3 fumbles for BYU. I like either CBS, Jay Brian Strother, and Evan Johnson getting picks, and Keanu and JT forcing some bull rushes and forcing some fumbles as well.
A 5-takeaway day. Last week, that's kind of an underrated thing here. You don't want to get too nitpicky about it on a 69-0 win, but
didn't force any.
Well, they had 1 takeaway, but they had no interceptions that ended their streak. So you're thinking they're getting back to a new run then, new streak.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you saw what BYU secondary was able to do last season, leading the NCAA, leading the FBS in interceptions. BYU is going to start that streak once again today on their way to 5 turnovers.
My bold prediction, this could be bold. LJ Martin scores all of BYU's touchdowns. I think BYU is going to have some opportunities inside the red zone. Maybe on the Stanford 3-yard line, they punch it in with LJ Martin, things like that. Or maybe LJ pops off a big run as he did last week. He had that one where he got tracked down. And I loved his ability to break some tackles last week. But I'm going to say LJ, who didn't find the end zone last week, I think he finds that a handful of times potentially tonight. I think he gets all of BYU's touchdowns. So I'll go bold and say LJ Martin scores all of BYU's offensive touchdowns. What about for you, Nate? What's your bold prediction?
Yeah, Mitch, you saying that LJ could pop off a long one. I love that. I've got BYU scoring 2 touchdowns of over 50 yards. They did that last week, and I think they're going to do it again this week.
That's a good one. Who do you think could be some of the guys that could be those deep threat guys, whether it's LJ, maybe who in the receiving game are you looking at?
Yeah, I think Cody Hagan can do it again. He showed some good speed last week. And then I'm going to go LJ as well because he had a couple big runs last week, and he's a tough guy to bring down. So I'm going to go LJ and Cody Hagan.
We haven't discussed LJ enough, but how good was he last week? 131 yards, career-high rushing. He was spectacular. And I think we had high expectations coming into the season for LJ, but LJ Martin just looks destined to be awesome. And, it was driving out of the parking lot at the student-athlete building this week, and I see him drive by, just kind of give a head nod, and just a quiet, humble guy. Like, he's just a perfect BYU athlete. He's not about the spotlight, the fame. I'm just excited for what LJ can become over the course of the season.
There were so many performances, Mitch, that were overshadowed in that Portland State game, just the way that it played out, the second half being what it was.
And it was historic, too, because Bear Bachmeier, true freshman, that was a
big deal. There were so many storylines that you could have taken out of that game, and I had to sit there in the press box afterwards trying to pick out something that I felt was overshadowed. And LJ had a career-high 131 yards rushing in that game, and it was like, oh, he had a career high. I ended up writing a story about it on KSLSports.com. You can go and read that if you want before tonight's game. But, LJ was spectacular. And if he's able to break tackles the way he was a week ago against Stanford and going into, these harder opponents that BYU is going to face this season, BYU is going to see themselves with a 1,000-yard rusher for the first time in a few seasons. And I really think that you look at the way that he's being coached by Harvey Unga, it's going to be – BYU hasn't had a running back like this since Tyler Algier was here a few seasons ago.
Let's take our final time out. On the other side, we'll give our score predictions for BYU versus Stanford right here on KSL News Radio.
History had the gold rush, then came the oil boom, the tech boom, but right now it's the Wi-Fi boom, and Xfinity Wi-Fi is booming. Xfinity has everything you need to tap into the Wi-Fi boom with seriously powerful and seriously reliable connection. It's got 99.99% network reliability and incredibly low lag, so your streams are smoother than making a decision on what to stream. Did I mention you can even connect to hundreds of devices so you, your kids, your parents, your visitors, and whoever else is home can all experience the Wi-Fi boom with Xfinity. And the Wi-Fi isn't the only thing that's booming. Get the most reliable Wi-Fi and the best-in-class equipment for one consistent price for 5 years, guaranteed all in. Plus, get unlimited data included and no annual contract, all with the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. Visit Xfinity.com to learn more. Restrictions apply, not available in all areas. New residential customers only. Select plans only. Xfinity Gateway and X-Fi Complete required for unlimited data except in certain areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report August 2024. Actual speeds vary.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Today through Sunday. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Today, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Let me tell you an amazing story. Last week, a customer came in. They were a creative director for an agency, and they were frustrated that their old, slow computer wasn't processing their files quick enough. He had a big project due and could not afford any delays. Well, we hooked him up with one of our new, powerful 2025 desktops for only $999, and he was able to complete his project with ease. Take one home today. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else do you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited, because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and skip the regular line at the airport and pay for speedy security. Imagine not having to quickly unpack and pack at the place you already came packed to. And wearing your shoes the whole time you're there? You can't put a price on that kind of luxury. Well, actually you can, and you paid for it. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time for speedy security. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary. Your fall one-tank trip starts in Cedar City, Parowan, and Bryan Head. Scenic byways and highways, live theater, mountain biking, food, and downtown. Visit cedarcity.com.
Cougar Sports Saturday on the BYU football game day. BYU versus Stanford, week 2. It was like just yesterday, it was BYU and Portland State. I'm telling you, folks, it'll be a blink of an eye, and then before we know it, it's Thanksgiving and Christmas, and we go, where did the season go? It just always happens that way. Once we wait all summer for the first game, and then that first game hits, and then away we go, and every week these days stack up, and we're already at game number 2 for the BYU football season. Mitch Harper, Kyle Ireland. We also got producer Nate Slack and intern Jasmine Papinga here in studio to give our score predictions for BYU and Stanford. Let's just start with intern Jasmine. Jasmine, what is your score prediction for BYU versus Stanford tonight, 8:15 kick here on KSL?
My score prediction for tonight is got to be 14-48 BYU.
Okay, so you see BYU just putting it on Stanford as they did last week against Portland State.
Nope, I lied. I said 14-45. That's what I think.
Okay,
but I mean, same thing around.
I think Cougar fans would take 45 points in a heartbeat. What gives you the confidence they'll put up a 45 piece on Stanford?
I mean, I don't know. We got to just see. I have not really deeply looked into the Stanford defense, but I'm assuming that we can kind of drill some in. That run game, get that going, get Bear slinging the ball and get some offensive points on the board. And I think Will Farron and maybe we'll get some defensive and special teams points again, as we've seen a lot last year. So I think we have a lot of point scoring squads on this team other than just the offense.
I like it. 45 points would be a nice day for BYU. Nate Slack, what's your score prediction for tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to take it back to 2008. And that was the last time that BYU had two shutouts back-to-back games. They had UCLA 59-0, and then the week after they had Wyoming 44-0. That's
right.
It was a point differential of 103 points to 0 over 2 weeks. They're going to do that again this week. So I'm going to go 34-0 BYU.
That's not even a bold prediction.
34-0 BYU.
My gosh, you're just going with the score prediction there, huh?
And if you add that with the score last week, that would also again be 103-0. So I'm going to go for 34-0 BYU shutting out Stanford tonight.
34-0. My gosh. I think that I have to give some Stanford, or have to give points to Stanford there. I'm going to say 34-14. I'm going to go same as far as BYU scoring there. I believe that Will Farron's going to break BYU's field goal record today, Mitch. I see it coming a week after he ties the record. We're going to have Will in the record books tonight.
I would love that.
14.
Farron is incredibly confident right now. I mean, his mental state is just in a great place for a kicker, and he's big on that, and I think he's done a nice job in his BYU career. The evolution for Will from where he was, in 2023, where that spring ball where he's missing everything. I'm thinking, man, BYU doesn't have a kicker. I was on this show saying BYU has no kicker, and then he was great, and he's just been fantastic for BYU ever since, and he's, to me, etching his name as the greatest kicker in BYU football history. So I would love to see Will get that record on his own. He tied it last week with a 56-yard boot against Portland State. For me, I'm going to go a modest score. I don't know. Maybe I'm just kind of keeping my guard up to just brace for any sort of just average performance. But I just don't feel like BYU is going to unleash much in their playbook still. I don't think it needs to. I think if they can do their core plays on this offense, that still gets the job done. And if you don't have to unleash much and still get a win over a power conference team, go do that. I think BYU wins 24-10. I think Stanford maybe tacks on a late touchdown to make it closer than it feels. But I think BYU will be in control of this game. They jump out early, get a nice lead, and BYU has just a solid day. Cougars get the win. I think they do go to 2-0. I'd be surprised, and any of you weigh in on this, Nate, we'll go to you. I would be really stunned if BYU lost this game. I really would. I think it'd have to be catastrophic for BYU mistakes-wise for Stanford to win this football game.
Yeah, I mean, just watching Stanford play against Hawaii, and I know that was 2 weeks ago, and they had some time to work over the bye week and maybe change some things up and throw some different looks at BYU, but I think BYU would have to make a bunch of mistakes, maybe some defensive touchdowns that Stanford's able to capitalize on and that sort of deal. But against the BYU defense, this is a defense I feel like all year where BYU is going to be in every single game they play, and I don't see a scenario where Stanford can even score 14 points, like 2 touchdowns. Man, I don't know. I don't see a scenario where BYU would lose this game.
Yeah, BYU's defense is just really good. And I think that BYU's got one of the best defenses in the Big 12. They were that last year, number 1 in the league. I think what they showed last week, that physicality will carry over. I know the opponent was terrible, but the way that they were playing physically up in the trenches, I thought they were fantastic. And I just thought BYU's defensive line, you brought up John Talmoy-Payao last segment, Keanu Tanavasa, they were excellent in the interior. And I think the edge rushers, and I thought Ephraim Asiata, he brought a nice element in that second grouping of the linebackers. BYU's got depth on the defensive side, and I think that's what's exciting about this group is that the Kellys and Glaskers are going to be awesome, and the Tanavasas. But also, you got depth to turn to those other guys and give breathers to those stars, and that's a nice luxury for BYU to have.
Yeah, I think BYU is definitely going to be able to lean on this defense to really take a lot of pressure off of their offense from having to score 69 points, 48 points. I don't expect BYU to have to do that to win this game because this defense is lights out. They're so good, Mitch.
Last thing before we put a bow on this show, again, we'll get extended pregame started at 6 o'clock here on KSL News Radio. Get you started for BYU and Stanford coverage. Intern Jasmine, you were in the postgame press conference last week with Bruce Barnum.
Oh, I was.
And he had a nickname for Bear Bachmeier, the Centaur.
Yeah.
Called him a Centaur. Should that stick? Should we start referring to Bear, who's already got a name that's an animal? Should we call him a mythical creature and say he's a centaur now? Should we refer to him as that going forward now?
I mean, I think we got to see how he can really gallop through this D line tonight. If he can do it, then I think that sticks with it. And I think you got to stamp that one on him. That was a great start to it. He's a bear and he's a centaur. Wow,
looking
can
at his
he pick
arms,
one?
looking at his legs.
It's crazy. That was an awesome post-press conference set there. I'll just say that. It was an entertaining one. I'll tell you that.
I have a feeling that Frank Reich, you'll be in that post-game presser. I don't think he's going to have that sort of gem, but he's a good soundbite too. Frank Reich was pretty good. I just have a feeling he's not going to be saying, yeah, looked at his legs, looked at his behind, and he's a dang centaur. I was like, wow, he really just said that. He kind of just said the quiet part out loud. He said our inner thoughts out loud. Okay. Thanks, Bruce Barnum. That was good stuff. But I think, are you on board with Centaur, Kyle?
I mean, it was such a great quote and such a good nickname that I hope Bear lives up to it over this season. I do expect Bear to have a nice showing tonight, though, against his former team, if we can even call him that, because, hasn't played a game for him, but was with Stanford during spring ball. I think that'll be fun and a nice element to have, Bear and Tiger facing up against some of their former teammates.
Well, and he made it clear, too, that, nothing but love and respect to Stanford. He probably would have stayed there had they kept Troy Taylor. But they have a coaching change, and then you're left in kind of limbo of what's the future going to look like at that head coach position. Get a little bit more stability with BYU, where Aaron Roderick, Kalani Sitake, they're here to stay. And, the timeline moved up significantly quicker. This year was supposed to be kind of BQB number 2. Go compete with McKay and Trayson to be QB2. Instead, now it's QB1. And everything worked out for him, and where he's got the keys of the program in front of him, and it's a lot. You think about it, it's just like a month ago, this guy is just going through fall camp and just a young guy, very quiet, and you kind of see that youthfulness in the way he has his interviews. But now the program is on his shoulders. The spotlight is there. He's getting a car deal. He's getting new NIL deals. It's a whirlwind.
There's a maturity to him, though.
Yes.
With your interview, it was even pointed out there, for a true freshman to play like he did in his, he didn't seem rattled, Mitch, against Portland State.
No.
I expect to see the same kind of thing against Stanford, where it's just like the poise that he plays with, the mental makeup that he has, I think is something that really stands out for me.
And I'm curious to see how much more. I still think, I don't want to say vanilla, but I think the core tenets of the playbook are still just going to be executed where it's not going to be too many new looks, but I think they'll expand a little bit. I think you have to against a power conference opponent.
Watch the Centaur sling it.
But I think that, I'm curious to see how Bear executes some new looks in BYU's offense.
Yeah, and I think part of the thing that gives him confidence in BYU's offense is just his size. He's body beautiful, right? I mean, he's a big body. You don't see that from freshman quarterbacks especially, but he's 6'2", 220, 230. He's ready to take hits, and I think he showed that last week as well.
Yeah, that little bit of a wiggle he had on one of his runs, he can move, and he's a quarterback that's not afraid to take on contact. He's a good player, and I'm curious to see how he continues to improve. That's what it's all about. Just get the win, continue to improve, stay healthy, and that's all that matters, because then you got a bye week, which is kind of crazy. I keep mentally having to remind myself, BYU's got a bye next week, which is so weird this early in the season, but get this win and then enjoy next week, and then you're on the road at East Carolina. But that's going to do it for Cougar Sports Saturday. We will be back tonight, 6 o'clock, with extended pregame for BYU and Stanford right here on the legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. Protests today have been loud and angry, but no reported violence in the nation's capital in Chicago against President Trump's actions of surging federal officers or troops into cities. At least several hundred of these demonstrators in Washington demand removal of National Guard troops, which the president credits with cutting crime in Washington.
Do the right thing, okay? It's all about money. It's all about money. It's not about the people, because the people are being treated as if they're not even cared about. Okay, this is not a government for the people.
Also protests in Chicago. Surge of immigration raids are expected, including immigration police.
We're separating families. We're literally separating families. That's what we're doing. And I don't think that's fair. Everyone deserves a chance here. Everyone was given the chance, to make a living. I think everybody deserves that.
El Grito, Chicago, the city's multi-day festival celebrating Mexico's independence, has been postponed. Strong to severe thunderstorms are sweeping across parts of the Northeast, affecting up to 25 million people. A severe thunderstorm watch goes from Maryland to Maine and lasts for about another 3 hours. Dealing with poor air quality because of persistent wildfire smoke are millions more from the Pacific Northwest through the Rockies to Idaho and Montana. Tonight's Powerball jackpot is at least $1.8 billion, the second largest in U.S. lottery history. Odds of winning it all, about 1 in 300 million, say the experts. Helpful strategies for winning number 0, but, says one expert, University of Houston professor Chris Letzko.
If you buy multiple tickets and you choose the same numbers on different tickets, then you're less likely to win. But if you do win, you'll win a bit more money.
You're listening to ABC News.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
The Social Security Administration just announced they are now projected to run out of money 1 year earlier than expected. Benefits could be cut by as much as 23%, and the average person could lose more than $100,000 in lifetime income. This news could significantly change when you file for Social Security. Discover how you could get every penny out of your benefits with a free Social Security analysis from Boss Retirement Solutions. If you've saved more than $300,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 801-896-9622. This free, customized analysis could help you get every penny out of Social Security. Call 801-896-9622. That number again, 801-896-9622.
Boss Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the Social Security Administration.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. If you have a 2004 or newer vehicle that's out of warranty or about to be, Endurance is urgently notifying U.S. drivers about their low-cost vehicle coverage plan designed to save drivers thousands on rising vehicle repair costs. Those who qualify can pick their plan, coverage, and repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental cars included. All covered repairs get paid directly to the repair shop for you. Call now for your free quote. Call 800-298-7906. 800-298-7906.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
You're listening to a pre-recorded paid commercial program brought to you by Boss Retirement Solutions.
Saving for retirement is a great start, but it's what you do with this money that really matters. How will you reduce your taxes, generate income, pay for the skyrocketing cost of healthcare, and optimize your Social Security benefits? Welcome to Retirement Solutions Radio with Tyson Thacker and Ryan Thacker from Boss Retirement Solutions. This is where you can count on straightforward and objective advice about the toughest challenges you'll face in retirement today. And now, here are your hosts, Tyson Thacker and Ryan Thacker.
Are you recently retired or hope to retire soon? This next wave of retirees, man, they are going to face more challenges than any other previous generation of retirees. And there are 4 hidden threats that you may never see coming. And if you're unprepared, and one single one of them, any one of them, could have devastating consequences for your hard-earned savings. Welcome to Retirement Solutions Radio. I'm Tyson Thacker along with my brother Ryan. We are the Retirement Brothers from Boss Retirement Solutions and Advisors. And if you're nearing retirement or in retirement, man, we have a great show for you today. Planning retirement has never been easy. and it takes a thoughtful and comprehensive financial game plan to truly make it work. But if you hope to retire over the next several years, you could face significant hurdles with stubborn inflation, the skyrocketing cost of healthcare, failing Social Security and Medicare systems, higher taxes, plus so much more. So coming up on today's show, we're going to share the 4 hidden threats to your retirement savings and the simple steps that you could take right now that could protect everything that you've worked for. And Ryan, let's jump right in. What's threat number 1 that we see?
Well, threat number 1 is taxes. And, if you're recently retired or nearing retirement, unnecessarily paying and overpaying taxes in retirement could be the single biggest threat to your hard-earned savings. And, of course, we need to pay our fair share. But overpaying, giving a tip to Uncle Sam, that's not what you want to do. And, when you think about the current environment, we are currently enjoying some of the lowest tax rates in over 40 years. And we only may have a few more years left because the Congressional Budget Office, well, they've already done the math, and they're saying that we are on track to hit 50 trillion with a T in national debt within the next decade. So
wow,
that's double what it was just 5 years ago. Think about that. So the government, remember, they don't have any money of their own. And so the only way that they can pay down the debt is by reducing spending or raising taxes. And Tyson, you're not seeing either side of the aisle right now about talking about dropping expenses. We're adding to the national debt with everything that's going on. And so, less government spending sounds great, and that's in theory, but, there's a lot of broken promises right now that are happening. And many experts believe that the federal government has no choice, that they'll be forced to raise taxes. And these tax increases may hit you right in the middle of your retirement.
Well, and don't just take our word for it. Don't just assume that because we're saying both sides of the aisle are going to need to raise taxes. There was a recent article in the New York Times, and that's not considered, by many any conservative. It's definitely leans more liberal. But here's a quote that they said. It said, "Sometime before the panic sets in, or maybe even after, Congress and the White House will have to come up with a plan to shrink deficits. The only option left is raising taxes, which are actually pretty low right now by historical standards. The top marginal income rate is 37% under the 2017 Tax Cuts and Job Act. Before that, it was 39.6. It was